Good evening, good evening.
Oh, I can't see the screen all of a sudden. That's weird.
I can see you.
That's weird. Huh.
I can see you. There's.
That's weird.
I can see you.
Let me drop and come back up.
Okay.
All right, there we go. Now I can see it. That was weird. Let me do the effects. Is that a fart? Let me do the effects.
This can't be mine because I have full service. I am at the house.
I heard you went and got your hotspot updated.
Correct, and my wife even got me a iPad.
Damn, dude.
I know,
Living
dude.
life good.
Dude, I'm moving up in the world, bro. I kind of figured I was like, yo.
I thought she would probably just give you like a divorce or something.
Listen, bro. I mean, listen.
It's coming. I heard you were in some shit again.
Who, me?
Yeah. You were fighting with Republicans again.
Oh, dude, I'm fighting them fucks all day long. I fight with them all day long. I don't know what did you hear?
I don't remember. That's dope, Brian.
I think you might be talking about the fuckball.
That might have been it. Oh yeah, he made that picture of you, right?
Yes, and I actually love the picture.
You look adorable.
I love the picture. I was like, dude, thank you very much, bro. Like, I appreciate this. I mean, I couldn't have done a better job myself.
Well, I think you look good. Why do you make you what is it? Are you on a Chihuahua body there?
I think so. Because he calls me short and fat. So I'm like, I can't be both, bro.
Could have been worse. Wait, you
Yeah.
can be both. Wait, what?
Well, no, I can be both short and fat. I just can't. It's not, it's not in my.
So if you get fat, do you get taller?
Listen, bro.
It's very confusing.
No, I'm just saying, as of right now, I am not. I mean, I might be short. I'm 5'5.5", but I'm not. No, don't listen, bro. That half matters, bro.
Does it? How much do you feel like it matters normally?
Listen,
Quite a bit.
listen. So I bought me these tennis shoes that are I guess they're called hokas or hookahs.
Yeah,
So they
okay.
got this thick. I mean, it adds about 1.5 inches. So
Well, is that if you measure from the base or where are you measuring from?
Listen, bro. You're frustrating me. Okay. I mean, listen. Not everybody's like 7'12". Okay.
I'm 5'10", man. I'm not tall.
Well, I'm just, but that's still, that's 4 inches, 4.5 inches taller than me. That's a
Well,
lot,
I
bro.
think 7'12" might be 8 feet.
You
If I'm
think
doing the
so?
math right. Yeah, I think that might be 8 feet.
Oh, yeah. You really think so? 7 foot.
I could Google it, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
because yeah.
thanks, Kate.
No, but this whole thing started, with the hypocrisy, and so I've been just kind of going after them, and yeah.
Well, I think that's great. I think that's what you should do. Very
No, I
proud of you.
mean, listen, you can't have it both ways. If you're gonna sit here and go after somebody for something they didn't do, but then you're gonna have the same rhetoric and not call out while they're your friends, I think it's crap.
What do you think? What do you think they're not going after?
Well, so let me give you a little background. I'm not gonna say
Sure.
the name of the person, just because I told him, I said, listen, I'm not gonna bring up your name anymore. And so last year, this person's name was drug all over the internet and TikTok streets for not even saying the N word, right? Not even saying it. I mean, literally, this dude was dragged.
Wait, they got in trouble for not saying it? That's the first time I've
Yes.
heard of that.
Yeah, for not even saying it, right?
Do they say something close? I'm confused by what you're saying right now. It sounds
No,
like
no,
you're
no.
saying they got in trouble because they refused to say the N-word.
No, no, no. They didn't even say it. That's the thing. They
Like
did
someone
not
else
say it
did?
at all. Yeah, somebody else did in the box.
All right.
And so they got drug all over these TikTok streets.
Oh, damn.
But then you have a person who admitted it, a white person who admitted it, that they said it, but he hangs around them and it's like nothing. You know what I mean? Oh, it's good. You said it. It's all good. Ain't worry. So I was like, dude, that's BS. I was like, I don't care. That's bullshit. And then so he wanted to open up his mouth, and I was like, all right, cool. What's up, Chris? And I was like, all right, well, now I'm going to blast you all over. I said, you deserve everything that you got. I said, you need to pray to baby Trump that you got pardoned.
Well, I'm messaging Jen right now to figure out who you're talking about. I won't say it out loud.
Yeah. Well, you know who he is. She'll tell you. I
I'll
just
find
don't
out. What's up, Chris?
So it's like, damn, man, you can't have it both ways.
Oh yeah, that person came in for some drama last time I was here. That was fun. That's who we're talking about? That was wild, man. She came in, she's like, I don't like when people are talking shit about me. Like nobody was talking about her. She just showed up. Is
Yeah,
that who
I'm
we're
like,
talking about?
yeah, yes, correct. Yeah, it's like, you can't be serious, bro.
That person is a very wonderful person who we never say anything bad about.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, they will say nothing. They're angels. And I'm like,
That's right.
you have to be kidding me, bro.
That's
So
right.
I've been just going after them, and so yeah.
Well, good for you, man. Stay
No,
hot. Stay
oh,
hot.
I
If
am.
everybody doesn't hate you, you're doing something wrong, probably.
Yeah, that's the whole thing that I'm like, dude, like, man. So I just wanted to make a little announcement. If you are a friendly to RTP, please do not request. It's not that we don't want you here, but
But we don't want you here.
yeah, I was just trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice, bro. I don't want to.
I don't know why a friendly would want to talk to me. Who wants to? I don't know why. That wouldn't be very fun. I'm not that great as a friendly.
But you know what's messed up is that I don't know. Yeah, you were here Saturday.
No,
We had a bunch of people that were like, "Oh my God, I've never spoken to you, RTP. It's so nice."
I was not here on Saturday. I don't know what you're talking about.
Was it Saturday? No. Who?
The last time I was with you was on Tuesday.
And you weren't with me anytime after that, or the?
No, I've been. I was out of town this weekend.
No, we were on might have been the week before where there were people coming in and they were like, "Oh my God, I've never met you and I'm following you." I was like, "Damn, bro." Like,
I don't remember. I might just have a bad. That would have been on Tuesday, though.
was it on Tuesday?
Yeah, that was the only day I was with you.
Yeah, man. See, I'm losing my mind too. But
It
it's
happens.
yeah, I'm not worried about it. I got my listen. I got my rotisserie chicken, so I'm just
Yeah.
waiting. Just Tito. Sorry, I gotta just tell my friend. Shtei ma'era nekakapsi. That's one of my good friends.
What did you just say?
I said, "Hi, how are you?"
Sounded more aggressive than that. All right. What language was that?
Bosnian.
Bosnian. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, I got the rotisserie chicken, and my wife is making the tacos.
Wait, you're having a rotisserie chicken and tacos? Is that how it works at your house? Like you get 2 meals every meal?
I actually do.
Why
For
aren't but
dinner.
like you say that you can't get big? Why that seems like you're doing everything right to gain weight.
So here's the problem with me, bro. So I can eat everything, but what helps me is every night and every morning, 2 times, well, basically 2 times a day, I go to sauna for 1 hour. And I just sweat everything out, bro. I mean, I'm
There's
just,
no way. No, that's not how any of
listen,
this
bro,
works.
let me
You
have
can't
that,
you can't
okay?
sweat out a
Listen,
chicken.
listen,
You
just let
can't.
me listen,
What are
bro.
you talking about?
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, okay?
Is Tony Kukoc Croatian?
Yes, yes, he
Steve
is.
Kerr tells a story about him from the NBA where, like, when he first got there, nobody was really friends with him. So Phil Jackson's like, you need to take Tony out to dinner, and he took him out like before a game, and he ate like this massive meal. And Steve Kerr was like, dude, we have a game in a little bit. Like, aren't you're gonna eat all that food? And he said, in Croatia, we eat big meal, drink espresso, go home, take big shit, then we play game. That was his.
Yeah.
That was his story. Like he just downs an espresso, shits it all out, and then goes and plays.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, pretty much.
So I thought that's what when you said twice a day. I thought that's what you were going to say. Is you just
No, no, no. I mean, listen, I'm gonna stick to that story. That is my story, and I'm not
okay?
changing.
All right. And is
I'm
that
not
because
changing.
it's really something else, or
No, it's just the story. I love it because it's actually the truth. I don't know what else. I've always been, like I said, I've always played soccer and until I kind of messed up my knee, I stopped, but I was very active and I still try to get a little bit
2 saunas
running
a
and here and
day?
there.
Who did
Saunas,
Jen?
surprisingly, bro, I drink a lot of water as well, so they do help me out a lot.
I forgot. Jen told me somebody was coming to visit today. Conservative Dave. Jen told me was coming to visit today. Is that happening? I don't know. I
Yes.
just learned who that
So
was. Oh, neat.
yeah, he messaged me and said, "Hey, are you doing?" I said, "Yeah, man, come on up and have a good time." So he said, "Okay, I'll be there."
All right.
So I just
Who does
actually texted him and all of that. So
Who does he run around with? I haven't seen him before, but that's not that unusual. Let me just update my picture there.
Yo, the
that's it.
Wi-Fi's doing well.
Is it really?
I'm impressed. So far, so good.
Listen, I'm proud of I'm proud of my Wi-Fi. God,
Well,
look at you.
so I see a couple people in request that I don't know. I'm guessing Biggie Tall Small is not opposition to RTP, and then I see Jesse Keys. Jesse, if you're opposition to RTP, let us know. But we're looking for debates. Lib Wrangler is a regular RTP fan. He doesn't typically join because he's always showering. So
Showering.
we've invited him. He's always in the
He
shower.
smells
That's what
great.
he
He smells
says.
great, though.
That's
Well, I mean, if
that's
he
what we've
smells
heard.
great, I
But
mean, I'm okay with that. If he smells great, that's fine. At least he takes a shower.
yeah, I mean,
Damn, Reggie.
but but yeah. So if you guys are in the request and you don't disagree with RTP, hop out request, because if you do agree, I'll just have to kick you out. I mean, I can, but I'd rather not. So
And you like to do that.
I do, but
She's
then people get mad and hurt feelings, and that's on them. But whatever. So
yeah, I mean, don't piss off
I'm not scared to debate you. We don't disagree. Tic Tac. So All right.
Zach. Oh, wow, I haven't seen him in a while. So, Jay, have you, by any chance, gotten to look into this case about this, what we talked about last week, the Albrego case?
I was kind of catching up today. I had this plan when I was in Seaside all weekend. I was gonna like take long walks and catch up on the news, but then I just listened to like testimony from this court case instead. So I've been catching up today, but yeah, so I'm probably not an expert, but I kind of have an understanding now of what's going on.
Oh, okay. Because
What do you think?
that seems to be a hot topic.
Yeah, let me just tell you this. I think everybody. I watched a debate. I'm going to show it on my show tomorrow, but people on CNBC, and I think more than any case ever, this or even just anything we've argued about recently. I think that this is a perfect example of people lining up to like play the blame game rather than like have the real discussion. And the real discussion is not can Trump do this? Because like there's it's hard to say. I know what the courts ruled. But they haven't had a final ruling yet. Like they're testing the Constitution. The real question is like why for me why are so many people cool with mistakes like this? Why are so many people cool with saying like all you need is an accusation that you're a terrorist, and they're just like, yeah, we'll remove you from this country, we'll throw you in El Salvador. That's my real question. Like, not can he do it, not will the judge uphold it. Why the fuck is anybody supporting it? Is my question.
I mean, after I get done, that's why I asked you if you know anything about it. But after I get done with my chicken, then I'll bring up my sources, because I think a lot of people are arguing their feelings instead of the law that is currently in place. You know what I mean? So as it stands right now, and that's why as soon as I'm done, it'll take me about 15 minutes. I'll bring it up, and I'll bring up the whole case from 2019, literally everything. And once I bring that up, I think people will kind of understand that while I agree that morally, just let him be. Just let him be.
Yeah, that's where I'm on it too. I don't get it.
Lawfully, I mean, if I'm going to talk law, then there's nothing there. You know what I mean? There's literally nothing there that people can argue.
Yeah.
And so after I'm done eating my chicken, I'm gonna bring it up. And
let me say, like the part of it that I think that there's some ambiguity is that Trump does have broad discretion on labeling people domestic terrorists. He does have broad discretion on foreign policy, but the problem that we have here is like that broad discretion doesn't mean that you get to infringe on rights. I think that people dance around that all day long. Like they dance on what can he do, and people are trying to either prove that this guy's a good guy or prove that this guy's a bad guy. I don't really care. I don't understand why anybody in America is actively supporting a lack of due process. And when in doubt, maybe err on the side of due process. Why are we erring on the side of fuck it, we'll fix it later?
yeah, and like I said, that's the argument that I've been doing. Let's just say, okay, the administration did fuck up, no doubt about it. And
I want to give you a heads up though. A lot of people that watch my channel are like me and have misophonia, and so some of these people are going to lose their goddamn mind if they have to hear you eat. It might be like it might be a real problem. You might get swatted.
okay.
They can't even watch it. They look at these people.
All right.
Just turn off your camera while you eat or something, and then mute when you're chewing. Some people it might be a kink though. Some people might only be here to watch you eat. I don't know. I don't want to say which part of the audience cares more.
Okay, we're there.
Yeah, I'm sure that's better.
Yeah, I mean, and I apologize. I'm hungry, so. But I mean, yeah, like if we're gonna talk about facts, I think that we need to have this conversation. But like I said, my personal opinion is, hey, the dude's been here. Just let him go. No, he's got a family. Let him do his thing. You know, try to give him some kind of pathway. But by law, there's literally no argument because we can go through the timeline, what happened in 2019, 2020, and then in 2025. And timeline is there. There's no, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, if we're going to have this conversation, I think it needs to be had, but we need to do it factually instead of our feelings. You know what I mean? And so that's
Yeah, I think you're saying the same thing as I am, aren't you? I think we're on the same page. I feel like some people are having a hard time tracking this, maybe, but I think we're saying the same thing. That if you're gonna do this, and it sucks. Like the truth is, our Constitution is set up that like the president can do some shitty things. Like I think we're realizing now that the giving the sole responsibility to the president to be able to label people terrorist groups is a little concerning because you can just say whoever you don't like is a terrorist. I think that's pretty concerning.
And I had a question. I was talking to Linz and I was talking to a couple other people and said, that Aliens Enemies Act, because I didn't know much about it. But if you read through it, I mean, at the end of the day, he's the only one who can kind of make that decision. Whether we like it or not, ultimately comes down to him. I disagree that he can just say, hey, we have an invasion at the southern border. Well, if we have an invasion at the southern border, then why aren't you talking about, the northern border and the people overstaying their visas, and you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that it's not a good look. And yeah, it's not a good look at all.
Yeah. You know that I watched The Big Short a lot, but there's like there's a flashback in the Big Short, and I think it's from Steve Carell's character. I'm pretty sure Mark Baum. And it's like his mom meeting with their rabbi, and the rabbi's like, he's great in school, he's doing great, but like he's studying the Quran, he knows everything about the Quran. And they're like, and his mom's like, what's the problem? He's like, he's studying it for inconsistencies. He's looking for inconsistencies in the Word of God. I feel like that's what Republicans are doing. Like they're looking for inconsistencies in the Constitution. They're looking for blind spots that we haven't figured out yet and looking to exploit those blind spots. That's what it feels like. Like they're just really like doing this end run on the Constitution. Like what can we get away with? And that's why that's why they're in court all the time. That's why there's injunctions all the time, because they're just all doing a bunch of shit that nobody's tried before. And the courts are like, oh, damn. Oh, shit. We haven't thought about this. We're going to have to adjudicate this. That's the whole Trump administration, is just see where you can bend the Constitution, see where there's a hole.
Can you hear me?
I couldn't for a second.
Okay.
I can now.
Yeah, that was weird. No, and my thing is this, and I've said this morning in another live. I said, okay, so let's talk about it. I mean, I have not seen a single. I don't want to try to use the race thing, but I haven't seen a single Russian, Ukrainian, and Middle Eastern that they picked up. I've actually tried to dig into this, and I cannot find it at all. So to me, is it just a particular group?
No, you've got some people from the Middle East that are specifically on like student visas that are being picked up for supporting Palestine.
Yeah, but I mean, are they from Middle East?
Yeah. I'm pulling them up right now. I'm not sure exactly where. I can't remember where exactly. Mahmoud Khalil, he's from You
Yeah,
guys
but
can probably help me. Where's he from?
yeah, he's from not from Middle East, but he's God bless it. It's right on tip of my tongue. Oh man.
Look it up.
Oh, Syria. That's right, Syria. Thank you very much in the comments. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to, and I've looked deep into this for the last, I'd say, 3
Kentucky.
hours.
Wait, but
Yeah.
Syria's in the Middle East though. I'm confused by that.
I guess you can make that claim, but I wasn't trying to get to that. I was trying to say that I haven't been able to find a single white person who's been
Oh,
deported. I was
Kayla is
trying not
saying
to,
that. Oh yeah, Kayla's saying he's Palestinian, but he was relocated to Syria, and some other people are saying I thought he was Palestinian too.
Oh, okay. So that
I
might be, but
actually
I
didn't know
was,
that.
yeah, I didn't. That's a good point. Thank you. No, but I wasn't trying to get to, try to use it, but I'm trying to look everywhere I can, but it seems to me just in the last, let's say, 2 weeks, it's nothing but from the southern border. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
nobody's going in, and like you said, nobody's picking up Russians or Ukrainians. Even though we
Nobody.
know Russia for sure, like there are Russians here whose stated goal is basically to take down the United States. The mob got taken down. The Russian mob got taken down in Trump Tower. So we know they don't do this. He's
Yeah.
not going to go after the Russians.
Yeah. I don't think he'll go up to that. And it's just so weird to me. It's just so weird to me
You're saying
that
two
you're going to
Duke
talk
basketball
about
players?
two what?
Two Duke basketball players are having their visas revoked. Someone just said.
Really?
Let's see. I haven't heard that either. Let's see. Kaman Maluk. Um, he's from
He
South
is.
Sudan. He's from South Sudan, and this action was taken due to South Sudan's refusal to accept citizens deported from the U.S. in a timely manner. Oh my God, dude, this is just like bullying all the time. Your country won't let us dump immigrants there, so you can't be here anymore. This is wild, man. There's not. This is sick. This is just sick. This is just bully shit. They use people like the thing I think maybe that frustrates me the most about MAGA currently is the way that they're willing to just dehumanize people and use people as props and pawns and like, oh, it's okay if somebody gets fucked over. It's fine. But God forbid you make one of these people put on a fucking mask in a Target. They lose their goddamn minds. You know what I mean? Like, if you mildly inconvenience a Republican, they absolutely lose it and storm the Capitol. But if you just use people as pieces to a game, it's fine. As long as they're brown, it's fine.
Yeah, and that's what I'm having a real hard time. It's like, damn. Well, if you're gonna say that you are doing this as a collective, and you're made it seem like that we had a huge issue. Well, if we do, then you need to pretty much kick everybody. I mean, if you're here illegally, then okay, fine. Doesn't matter if you're from Mexico or Russia or Germany. Doesn't matter where you're from. But to me, something's not adding up, man. It's just not adding up.
You know what? I don't think we know for sure, but my current hypothesis, and it could change, is that when Trump mentioned building like 5 more prisons in El Salvador,
I
and
was
you see what
hoping
they're
you wouldn't
doing,
do that. But
I think they're going to use El Salvador as a way to generate slave labor. And they'll allow U.S. companies to use the slave labor from those prisons to do manufacturing jobs that people don't want to do here, specifically like food processing, I think.
I heard that video today, and I went like to a few other people. I just wanted to kind of get a confirmation of what I heard him say, and I was like, bro, how can I even defend this? And they're like, well, the context is not there. I'm like, what context do I need it to be? What context do I need it to be? I don't know. How do you want me to defend that? There's nothing that I can defend it. And I'm like, damn, man. And no, Devo, you're right. You're absolutely right. I've actually gotten so much heat just for saying that because it's always there. Well, the context wasn't there, and that.
That's
Bill, are you
crazy.
there?
Trump, I went through it a bunch of times because I see what they saw. Like it was choppy. For whatever reason, most of the videos that came out of the White House yesterday were like choppy as hell. And so I thought maybe it had been manipulated. And I found every angle I could. And then I found like he whispers it. And then the one that MAGA shows a lot is the part where he just whispers it and they're like, we're not sure that's what he's saying. But then he turns to the reporters and he says it out loud. He says like loudly, what's the wording? He says, the homegrown ones too,
The
something like whatever it
homegrowns,
is.
yeah, exactly.
He wasn't keeping that a secret. I think it was like a hot mic, or they tried to turn it into a hot mic, but it wasn't a hot mic. And if it was, that hot mic became pretty honest after that. Oh, it was a hot mic? Sorry, I meant to say that louder.
Hey, Bill, you timed out. Hold on a second. Let me Bill, come on up. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know how to spin that, bro. It's clear as daylight. I don't know how I can spin it. So it's, you know what I mean? What's up, Bill? How you been, man?
Good. How are you? How's everybody?
Good. It's been a while. Everything good on your end?
Good. But I did want to say something about the prisons that RTP was talking about in El Salvador. I have another theory. I think that he might be turning them into private prisons for the U.S.
Well, I think we're kind of saying the same thing. The reason I think that he would not do it that way is having El Salvador run the prisons means that they're not, they don't have to adhere to U.S. law, and you can't really have pressure in the same way. I think it would make more sense to just pay them, and maybe some American investors are helping run it, but I think that's the point of putting it in El Salvador, so that it's not American.
I also think it's going to be, I don't know how I feel about it, because I do think that it's going to be, I see the good, but I see the bad. Do you understand? Like, I can see where it could be good.
I'd be interested in the good. I probably don't. Yeah.
Definitely be a moneymaker for the U.S. Think about it.
No, it would cost us money.
No, I don't think it would cost us. Private prisons cost us? Private.
Yeah.
How would it cost us money, especially if it will be in El Salvador?
Well, we pay for right now with private prisons, they get federal funding. Otherwise, where would they get the money?
I didn't think it would cost us money. I thought it would make the U.S. money. That's why I mean,
but even then,
I see the bad and the good.
Isn't that just slavery?
Yes, absolutely. But
we want to be back. We want to be a country that does slavery again.
No, we don't. Absolutely not. Where do you see slavery there? These are going to be prisoners, right? They're going to be working with time off there.
Do you believe in slave labor? Like if you get paid so little that you can't live off of that, do you believe slave labor is a thing?
I believe it exists, absolutely. I'm not okay with it. It's wrong. But again, if someone goes to prison for committing a crime,
then they can be a slave.
No, not be a slave, but they're gonna. Are they gonna get paid top dollar? Is that what you expect?
Well, they get like 50 cents an hour.
That's very cheap. Very, very, very bad.
I would call that probably slave labor.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I don't think going to prison. I don't think any country has ever shown that imprisoning a bunch of people and making them work as slaves or for very cheap wages. I'd like to see a time in history when long term that worked. There's a lot of times in history, like El Salvador, where it works momentarily, and then eventually you start rounding up and putting people in prison who shouldn't be there, and then the people revolt. And I think that's what we have right now. I think that I think this is probably too soon. I think this is going to cause a lot of problems for this administration, because I don't think most people are comfortable especially given how many people we wrongfully convict and incarcerate in this country. I don't think a lot of people are going to be cool with that.
This is El Salvador we're talking about, right? You do know that we wouldn't have complete control of El Salvador's government.
Yeah, I think that's the point. That way, then we aren't held responsible for the way that the El Salvadorian prisons treat them.
I see what you're saying. I see it.
Do you think Donald Trump cares if he sends people there to do slave labor?
I think you. What do you mean care? Like for prisoners, criminals? Are you talking about criminals,
Yeah.
or are we talking about
Yeah.
everyday citizen? Because absolutely,
those would be people convicted of crimes. Well, hopefully, right now they're sending people that aren't convicted of crimes, but maybe they'll clean that up at some point.
People.
What's that?
If we're talking about criminals, people who have unalived people, what
They should be slaves.
It's what do you expect to? I mean,
don't make them slaves. That's what I would expect.
So then, what would they be doing in prison? You go to prison for unaliving someone, then what do? You just sit in a cell all day long.
Sure. That's better.
I'll
take that. That's better than slavery.
I don't see the slavery aspect of it. Like you comparing it to slavery. I don't know how you're comparing the two.
You believe that the people that like the sweatshops that existed in China where they paid children and people basically no wages, is that slave labor or no?
Absolutely, but they were not criminals.
Sure, this would be the same thing.
Prisoners.
Well, actually,
no, they were not.
A lot of them were prisoners in the same. A lot of them were prisoners in the same way that these prisoners who have been sent to El Salvador are, in that they never got a trial. They just belonged to a population. That population was labeled a threat, and then they were put into camps and areas where then they could be taken advantage of, specifically for labor.
Again, I don't see them as prisoners, okay? Criminals.
Seems like you don't see them as human, really.
No, that's not true. Hold up a minute now. Don't put words in my mouth. I did agree with you that it would be slavery if they were just your regular citizens. Absolutely. But if they are people who are prisoners, who have unalived people or criminals, some kind of criminals, that's a different story.
Then they can be slaves.
They're gonna have to do what you gotta do something in prison, right?
Since they're bored, they might as well be slaves.
That's not what not what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm finding it a little weird that you're comparing slavery to prisoners. I'm sorry.
Why?
We can't. What do we do?
I think what you're finding troubling right now is you have been justifying this because they're criminals. And when we talk about what's really happening, that 75% of the people that we've sent to El Salvador, the government has shown no proof that they're criminals. We don't even know. Whatever, I don't know, maybe 74% are, maybe they're not. We don't even have evidence. We know for sure that some of the people they've sent there are not criminals. But either way, I don't care what crime somebody has committed. I don't believe in slavery. I don't believe that you can make somebody work for a non-living wage and force them to work.
I don't believe in slavery either. But if you're in prison, I mean, you got to follow the rules of the prison, right?
Yes, but I don't think we should have rules in prison that say you can be a slave.
Then let's change those rules.
We did change those rules, and that's why Trump is sending them to El Salvador, where they don't have those rules. But you have a bunch of MAGA people who don't care about these people because they're brown, and they believe that brown people are all criminals. And so when they send people there without any sort of evidence that they are criminals, we can't get you guys to care.
Who exactly are we sending back? Are we sending American citizens to El Salvador? American citizen prisoners to El Salvador? What are we sending back?
A lot of times we don't know. But we don't 75% of the people that have been sent there, the government has provided no evidence that they have committed crimes.
I just find that, I mean, you're going to have to show me some kind of proof that Americans are being sent there.
I didn't say that.
Okay, then I don't know. Then who's being sent
Oh,
there?
so if they're wait, just to be clear, if they're not
Who's being
American,
sent
if they're
there?
not, if they're not, if they don't have citizenship, then they're not Americans, because a lot of these people are here on TPS, work visas, student visas, people who are legally here, but they're not, they're not citizens.
So are they being sent back because they are illegal, or are they being sent back because their visa has expired?
You cannot send some. Well, you can't send somebody.
We're not talking about
You
prisoners,
can't
and they're not
send.
being.
You
We're
can't
not
send
talking about
somebody.
prisoners.
You can't
You're not
send
talking
somebody.
about.
You can't send somebody to prison for illegally immigrating. That's not a crime that we send people to prison for. It's essentially a misdemeanor.
Again, are we sending back illegal immigrants, just sending them back to the country, or are we sending them straight to prison in El Salvador? And
Straight to
I would
prison.
need to see some proof. Okay, where's the proof on that?
They're not doing court cases.
What are you talking about? If they're just being
Do you not
deported,
know this?
hold up a minute. If you're talking about your deportation, right? If you're talking about illegal immigrants or people that are being deported because their visas are done or whatever their cases are, they can't be here anymore and they're being deported. You're telling me that they're going straight to prison in El Salvador?
I'm telling you that 75% of the people that have wound up in that El Salvadorian jail, we have been provided no proof that those people did anything more than come to this country. That's it. That's the proof that we have. I don't know which ones. I don't know how many of them committed crimes because we don't know. And I think it's odd that there's so many people that are so okay trusting the government all of a sudden when the government's like, don't worry about it. We promise they're criminals.
Again, RTP, I would need to see some kind of proof that we're doing this to them, or unless they go back, if they're going back and they've committed a crime, if they've committed a crime in the past in El Salvador, and they go back, absolutely, they're probably going to go to prison.
What would the proof be? What proof would you need to see if the government doesn't
Where are you getting this? Is this just something that just popped up in your head?
We're asking the government for proof, and they don't have any. How am I supposed to find proof of evidence that they didn't give us?
So then where are you getting it?
No, wait, hold on. You should be holding them to the standard that you're trying to hold me to. I didn't deport anybody.
For Pete's sake, RTP, please. I'm not trying to hold you to any standard, okay? It's TikTok.
But hold them to it.
Now, my question to you is, where did this whole thing come about? Like, is there some kind of, like, what, did we see it on the news that Donald Trump is... Okay, Donald Trump is deporting illegals and they're going straight to prison in El Salvador? Where did we see this from?
From whitehouse.gov, from the White House Twitter account. And every one of those videos, none of them are accompanied with the crimes that those people committed. In fact, we have multiple times now. You have the hairdresser, I think from New York, who was detained because of 2 tattoos. And they said the tattoos showed affiliation with a gang. The tattoos were a crown on each hand with his mother and his father's name. There is no accusation. There is no link to that person and gang violence. He was deported. He was put in the El Salvadorian prison. He had his head shaved. He's in prison now. He was ordered to be returned by the Supreme Court. And they're just like, no, sorry, can't do anything. I need them to give me proof. They're just telling us these are criminals. They're not giving us any proof.
Okay, so we're deporting, we're talking about illegal immigrants or anybody who's not supposed to be here is being deported. All right. We don't.
No,
okay, so
that's not all we're talking about. We're also talking about people who are here under protected status, and Donald Trump saying MS-13 and Tren de Aragua are now terrorist organizations. So because of that designation, we get to decide who is and isn't a member of that terrorist organization. And if we believe that they are, we can deport them and put them into an El Salvadoran prison.
I'm not as familiar with this as Admir. Have you heard of this? Where is this coming from?
There's a case.
Deportation, I know this.
Yeah, so here, like I was talking about earlier, so there's a particular case. His name is Garcia Albrego. He came here in 2012. state here in 2019, he went in front of the court, and two judges deemed him a MS-13. So then he was ordered removed. He filed for I-589. They gave him a temporary protection status. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky, and I'm trying to understand this, and I've been looking into this from the time that he was given this TPS, because TPSs are 6, 12, or 18 months.
Yeah, I know.
Where did this TPS, when did it expire? When did it actually go into effect? And why didn't he
Go back. He
go
should
back
have been
and
deported a
refile?
long time ago, right?
No. Hold on. You're not getting it. So he was given this TPS, right? But the problem is I can't find any record that says that he either refiled for it or extended it or anything. So just by that account, that's where this thing gets a little bit tricky, because Christy Nome gave them 60 days in January 15th, but he was arrested on January 17th, but he was arrested on the 15th. So 2 days prior to this, they just took him away. You see what I'm saying? So this comes in, ultimately the question comes in is, we can argue moral, we can argue facts and the law. And that's where this thing comes in.
Okay, when did it expire? Does anyone know when it expired?
It doesn't have an expiration date. There is no expiration date. It's indefinite, and so, but through DHS, they can remove that if conditions change, like if the material conditions in the country change, or if you commit a crime, then that can change. But there's not an expiration date on his status, which I want to say it was TPS, but I might have that wrong. It might have been a different status, but I want to say it was TPS. My computer's restarting right now, or I would be able to pull it up, but give me a couple minutes and my computer will be done restarting.
No, I have my computer as well, and I have the actual court cases, literally everything on him. But the only thing that I can't find is when his TPS went into effect and which one did he get, 6, 12, or 18 months. That's the only thing that I can find.
No, from what I read, and again, my computer's restarting, but there is not. I don't believe there is an expiration date on his status. I think it's kind of like when Trump signed an executive order on his way out the first time and gave TPS to Venezuelans. That has to be revoked, and so it's not like a visa that has an expiration date. That's what it is. Withholding deport status. That's what it is. Thank you, Jay. Somebody just put it in there. It's an alternative to asylum. It's called withholding deport status. And there is no expiration on that. But again, you can change it. So if they decide that conditions have changed in that country of origin, they can change it. But the problem is they didn't change that across the board. Now they're just like using it when they want to.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Well, I'm getting my computer up as well, so I can pull everything.
And that's by the way, that's what the Trump administration is saying. The Trump administration is saying we have every right to change this at any time. And that's true. They do have every right to change it. And I think that's why the conversation is the wrong conversation. The conversation should be, why are we deporting people without evidence of crimes? Why are we putting people, and not just deporting? It's one thing if it was just deporting, right? But not only are they being deported, but they're being put into prison. And there is no evidence of crimes in a lot of these cases. And so we have people that aren't just being deported. It's not like we decided, cruelly or not, that we're just going to say everybody from Syria, it no longer has status here. They're taking people, making up crimes, and putting them in prison. That's the problem that I've got, really. I disagree with Trump's I disagree with his policy, and I disagree with a lot of things he does that are legal. But my argument, what I don't understand is, why are we targeting people and making up crimes and then then when Trump's administration has admitted to multiple mistakes, they've in front of court, they've been like, yep, you're right, this was an accident, we should not have deported that person. And the judge is like, you have to bring them back. And they're like, sorry, what can we do? We can't do anything. It's out of our hands. That's not okay. We can't fuck up and then say, sorry, we're just going to leave that person in prison. We can't do that. That is dictator shit. That is that is oligarchy shit. That is fascist shit. I don't know how we are a country where so many people are cool with this right now. This is crazy. This is black and white,
So
right and wrong. Should be
no, I agree.
easy.
But let me ask you. Let me spin it a little bit. So
Sure.
would you be okay if they brought him back? He went through the due process, and the judge said, "Hey, listen, you originally came here illegally. You did not obtain within that first 12 months that you are allowed your asylum. Based on that, I am going to deport you." Then would you be okay? Would that suffice as far as his due process? And I'm just
No,
asking.
no, in this case, because the guy we're talking about, and again, my computer's restarting, so you'll have to remind me of his name.
Yeah. It's Albrego
But
Garcia, but I can't even pull up my computer now.
part of the reason he was still here is because they went to court and basically they believe that going back to El Salvador would be a threat to his life, and so there's extra considerations for him that we would need to give. So no, but let's just say that there weren't. Let's just say that going back to El Salvador wasn't necessarily a threat to his life. I might disagree with it, but I wouldn't say that this is an overstepping. I wouldn't say that this is ignoring the Supreme Court. I wouldn't say that it was unlawful. Like, I would just say I think Donald Trump's an idiot, and I don't like his I don't like his policies when it comes to deportation. But this is different. We're just making shit up and throwing people in prison.
I mean, just on this case, now I'm waiting for my computer to boot up as well. Just on this case, because I was able to obtain literally everything, his whole court documents, the two times he went in front of the judges. And I mean, if we're going to go off of what the judges say, two separate judges said, no, you don't, you're being sent. And so this is where the interesting part is.
They said what? What are you talking about?
So they both denied his asylum, and they both said that he was a part of the MS-13.
Yeah, but if you look at that evidence is literally like it's the government
somebody
saying,
snitched on him. I agree. I mean,
yeah, but they won't even. But for this case, they won't show us the evidence that somebody snitched. They won't even show it to us.
Yeah, I pulled up all this stuff. You don't have your computer's not up, Jay?
It's pulling up
mine
now.
Either. It's just crazy. I don't
The
know why
one
mine
source
is.
that I have, it's got like the what's it called? It's the one called the lawfaremedia.org. It's got all the court cases and stuff in it. It doesn't. Yeah, someone snitched on him, but it didn't. So they didn't give him what's the word asylum, but they said he couldn't be deported because it would cause him harm in to return to El Salvador. So he was given extra.
And that's because the accusation of being a member of MS-13 without any evidence and going to El Salvador, Bukele is literally just taking anybody who's like accused of being in a gang and he's throwing them in prison. So ironically, the reason he couldn't go back to El Salvador is because the people who accused him of being in a gang could cause him to be thrown in prison in El Salvador without any evidence. And then we just did it anyways. We're like, oh, there's no evidence that he's in a gang and he's not in El Salvador. No problem, El Salvador. We'll just send him there for you.
And they hadn't stopped him. Like in 2019, he hadn't been committing a crime. He was standing outside of a Home Depot looking for work, and he was. They thought he was part of a gang, and that's when I stopped him because he was wearing a Bulls hat and a hoodie. And there's go ahead.
And there's another account like that. The government doesn't even have it right. In one area, they say he was stopped like outside of a crime scene. I want to say like a murder scene. And the other document that they have claims that he was outside of a Home Depot. So the snitch, apparently, the people who are writing on him, they can't even get their story straight. So there's a reason he's not in prison in the United States. There's a reason he wasn't deported before. There's no evidence. There's just like somebody said that. And we can't even get access to those documents. The government won't even bring those documents and show us who these people are, where this is coming from. It's just we have two weirdly very different accusations, and that's why he was not put in jail or deported before.
Yeah,
So, Jen, let me ask you
forms.
something.
They were called I-23 forms and a GFIS form that they
That's
won't
right.
provide.
Do we know the reason? Do we know why he asked for asylum?
Because there part of the article, his family had been harassed by a gang. I think it was called the Boreas. I may be saying that incorrectly. So he came to the United States when he was 16. Because his family was being harassed by this gang in El Salvador. So he's been here since he was 16, in 2011.
Oh my God.
So, Jen, because I don't know why my computer now, I get it for the first time and now I'm having issues. That article, and I know which one because you sent it to me.
These are different articles that I found other than what I sent you, but yeah.
Does it say anything here of an actual, when did he actually arrive here?
He arrived here in 2011.
Okay, from 2011 to 2019, do you have any?
He has had nothing criminal since he got here when he was stopped in 2019.
Okay.
There's other ways to know it's bullshit.
When he got here?
Yes.
What's that?
Being 16 when he got here, asking for asylum alone, right, with his brother, someone said in the comments, and his asylum case was denied twice. There's got to be something there.
I think he applied for asylum after the 2019.
Wait, hold on. For asylum, you have to meet qualifying conditions. And those qualifying conditions are really difficult. Like Rolo was on here last week and he mentioned the number, like the percentage of people that used to be granted asylum was like under 5%. We're not sure now, but it's not going to be much more than that. Like, in fact, I heard around 2 to 3%.
So it's actually 89% that they get denied. The ones that show up.
Okay, it's to 89 now? Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that uncommon. But again, I do feel like I know everybody researches these things. And this is one of those situations where I actually think more research is making this all less clear. The reality is somebody who was here legally, who was given an order that basically they could stay, that person was picked up, detained, and sent to a prison in another country without any evidence of a crime, without any trial, without any due process. I know we want to get into the weeds of it. And I know people want to do that. But the reality is we are doing something we've never done before. We are taking people without due process and we are putting them in prison. And when we fuck up, we're not fixing it. We're just like, sorry, that's crazy. No, guys, let's not. We don't need. I don't want to turn it into the details, Fuzzard. Unshare. I want people to talk about. I would really like to hear more people on the other side explain to me why that's a good idea. I understand if they want to argue Trump can do it. I want to know why people support it.
So, I mean, listen, I told you this before and I've said it again. I don't support it. Morally, I do not support it. The issue is I'm only arguing the law. Right. That's all I'm arguing because I can't argue with you my morals or my beliefs, but I can argue law. Right.
Okay. Supreme Court said you have to bring him back. So that's the law.
Is that what they said?
Yes.
Because the Supreme Court ruling that So hold on, Bill. The Supreme Court rule that I read was that they were going to pass it on to the lower courts, to the ones that decided that, and they have to show to facilitate it, not bring him back. They never ordered it. They just said you're going to have to facilitate it, which is totally different thing.
Well, they used a different word that was weird. Yes. Basically, they sent it back and they said you've got to explain what this means.
Correct.
But we now have multiple court rulings that have said you must bring him back within a certain amount of time, and they're not doing it. The Trump administration now has ignored multiple court orders saying that you have to bring people back. And again,
do you have that video?
I don't think it's a video, but my computer's finally load.
Because I would love to see that, because the last ruling that I saw on SCOTUS was where they said, hey, the lower courts are going to have to facilitate. And basically, they're just going to have to show that they are going to facilitate on how to bring him back. But they never said, listen, you have to bring him back. If there's something that new came out, I would love to hear.
How could you facilitate bringing him back without bringing him back?
Well, that's a very good question.
You can't. I heard this. I heard this lawyer talking today. She debunked this. She's like, you can't take facilitate and then ignore bring them back. And the word wasn't facilitate; it was a different word. But like they said, bring him back. I feel like it's like. Do you think the court is ruling? Hey, you got to make a plan, and if he doesn't come back, oh well. But you got to make a plan.
Okay, so if they rule to bring him back, what's in the way of bringing him back? Like, why is he not being brought back?
They said they're not going to. They're like, oh, we can't bring him back now. He's not under our control anymore. He's under Bukele's control.
Yeah.
Which, fair enough, if you want to make the argument like, oh, we can't bring that person back because we can't go onto a sovereign country and take somebody out of prison, well, then we probably ought to talk about the fact that Donald Trump has set up a situation where they can wrongfully put somebody in prison and there's no way to get them back. Effectuates the word. Thank you, Carrie. So now we're dealing with like there's nothing we can do. All right, well, why are we supporting somebody who is sending people to prison without evidence wrongfully, and there's no way to fix that? We shouldn't do that. If we can't fix injustices, we shouldn't have we shouldn't have a system that allows us to send people there. That seems pretty plain as day.
But the problem you're saying that we sent him to prison.
We did.
We sent him back to his country.
No, wrong. Bell. We sent him to prison, Bell. We flew him on a plane. It's bad. I know that people like Trump. I know that nobody wants to admit that they were wrong about this guy, that he's absolutely a fascist, that he'll absolutely do concentration camps, but he's doing concentration camps right now. It's time. It's time for you guys to be like, all right, we didn't sign up for this.
Now, I just want to answer the comments. Do you live under a rock? No, I live under a mushroom.
Don't pay attention to the comments. Just have a conversation with us. Yeah, I know. Don't pay attention to that because it's. I agree with you, and I've said this a little bit ago, right before we got on, is that if the judge can say, "Hey, you can send them to these countries or to whatever country they're sending them," well, there's got to be a way that they can say, okay, bring him back. Because I don't buy in this whole notion that you can just send him, keep him in prison, and then not do anything about it. Something's not, to me, that's not right. But
I mean, even if this was even if all this was real and like you couldn't bring the prisoner back, if that's the case, if we can't bring him back, we should immediately stop sending people to El Salvador tomorrow, today, now, anytime. That's the problem. The Trump team is admitting that they made mistakes and they've jailed people who should not be in jail. And then they're saying, we can't get them back. And they're also saying, we're not going to stop doing this. We'll just do better next time. We promise.
Thank you. Well, I mean, so here's the way I'm looking at it. And you brought up a good point. And I mean, I just don't understand one thing. You picked him up, you ordered him to be deported. Why keep him in prison in El Salvador? Because he didn't commit any crimes in Salvador or here to be put in prison.
Do we have proof that he didn't commit any crimes in El Salvador?
Yes.
No, we have no proof that he did commit a crime, which is the standard of evidence in this country, that if you are going to be detained and arrested and put in prison, there has to be evidence of a crime. It's not our job to prove the government doesn't have evidence. It's their job to provide evidence, which they haven't done. The evidence that they're using to claim that this person is a human trafficker, by the way, and a member of a gang is an affidavit from a hearing that wasn't even admitted. He didn't even go. I don't even believe he went to trial. I don't even think it got to trial. This is just something somebody said that was unverified. And two judges have heard this same exact information and refused to do anything. Refused to say like, oh, this is a gang member. So we don't know. That's the problem. Is 75% of the people that have been deported and put into this El Salvadoran gang, we have no evidence of a crime. The government's just saying, trust us. I don't care who's in government. I don't trust them.
Yeah, I don't trust them either. When it comes to that, I don't trust them either. And I mean, I wish that somebody can answer, from conservatives who voted for Trump, is if we know he didn't commit any crimes other than coming in here illegally. I mean, fine, that's a deportable cause, but it's not a crime that carries a year or 2 or 5. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? That's not what this is. If you just picked him up and said you're going to be deported, fine, deport him. But what is the goal to keep him in prison? That's what I just can't come around that. It's what is the goal for you to keep him in prison?
Okay, Admir, because he has been deporting a lot. A lot have been at a fast pace, right? Could it just be an error, and why are we not fixing it?
Well, that's the big question. They admitted that this was an error, but for some reason, now they're saying they can't fix it. Here's my theory why they can't fix it. Because if they do bring him back, that would be such a blow to Trump and the administration, and that would set a really bad precedent moving forward.
Also, they don't have evidence. And so when they come back and they're forced to show their evidence, it's going to be really, really apparent that they didn't have evidence. I think it's more than ego. I think it's more than egg on their face. I think the fact is they know they're deporting people without solid evidence, and being forced to give that evidence would be a problem. So if you never bring the person back, I think they're banking on, there can't be a court case without the person who we're representing right now.
Yeah, I don't. Hey, if you're in a queue, if you're our friendly, don't take this the wrong way, but we don't want you up here. Jennifer Berwick, are you a friendly or are you a Trump supporter? Can you just either put a 1 or 2? I don't care. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that he didn't Epstein himself.
I believe it's an error. Listen, everyone makes mistakes, but this was a big one, I guess.
Yeah, but they said it was an error too, and they're not doing anything to fix it. So the mistake, if it's a mistake and you refuse to fix it, I'm not sure it's a mistake. And I think you're giving actual human traffickers a pass right now because you voted for them.
Oh no, don't get anything. I absolutely did vote for Trump. I'm a Republican. I've only voted Republican. But like I said, every administration has made mistakes, has had errors. This has
never happened ever. This has never happened in this country.
We got to fix our error. Absolutely, he's got to fix it.
Why aren't they? Why are they fighting in court to not fix it?
Well, we don't know exactly what they're doing right now.
We do. They were in court. They were in court today. They were in court today. They made a mistake. This is why so many attorneys, when Donald Trump took office, inspector generals, people at the DOJ, this is why so many people quit, because they saw what he was going to make them do. And by the way, these attorneys, if they continue down this road, probably will lose their license. This is a person who just leaves a trail of destruction everywhere that he goes. Everywhere he goes, trail of destruction. Lives are ruined in his wake every single day, and he never pays a price for it. And we have innocent people sitting in it. And have you seen the conditions of those El Salvadoran jails, by the way? Have you looked at what happens when you go there?
No, I just know how they're here in America, and it's horrible.
It's way
I can
worse.
only-
It is like
yeah, I can
one
only-
giant. It's like one giant cell. They bring you in. You're shackled. You're in there 24 hours a day. They shave your head and they put you in a game with. I believe I might be wrong about this, but I don't believe the lights ever turn off. I can show. Let's see. I mean, I can send them to you. Or Jen, do you want to send him some pictures of the El Salvadoran jail or prison?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, look at the conditions that these people are in. I can probably flip my camera here. Let's see.
You got it?
Let me just turn off the effects here.
Your background picture scared me there a minute. Oh my goodness.
Hold on, let me put you on a big screen.
These are their bunk beds right there. This is how they're living in these jails. It's abhorrent.
Yeah, that's.
And the people we're sending didn't commit a crime. That's horrific.
Yeah, I mean, this. Yeah, I mean, been kind of the ones that kind of stand up and everything. I think it's gonna how you look at it. I mean, we gotta fix this whole thing. I mean, I don't.
Literally said it needs to be fixed. I do believe it's an error. It's a really, really bad one. Very big one. It needs to be fixed. But my thing is El Salvador giving the U.S. the issue of bringing him back?
I mean, the president was here yesterday.
They want to keep him probably.
He was here yesterday, and it's crazy because the Trump administration is basically saying, "Oh, we can't take it. We can't just take him." And Bukele didn't say, "No, I'm not giving him back." Bukele said, "No, I can't smuggle him into the United States. That's illegal." Nobody's asking. Yesterday, and it's back. Bukele said, asking to kidnap him. Bukele said, "Oh, that's kidnapping." Kelly said, "Oh, that's kidnapping." First time. First time.
Do it, but they need to figure it out.
They don't want to. Bukele will do whatever they say. He's not saying he won't send him back home. He's basically saying Trump doesn't want me to bring him back home. So if I bring him back home against this administration's wishes, then now I'm smuggling people. The only way it is smuggling, the only way it's kidnapping, the only way Bukele is breaking a law is if Trump is saying you can't do this. He's saying it too. Trump's saying I don't want to bring him back. He's saying I can't bring him back because Trump doesn't want me to bring him back. And Trump yesterday, maybe it was yesterday, maybe the day before, with Bukele said, "Hey, you know what we really need to do? You need to build 5 more prisons so we can send our homegrown people there too." And then when he was asked to clarify on that, because some people are like, "Oh, he probably meant El Salvadoran homegrowns," he said, "Oh no, I mean criminals from America." Yeah, he said something like, "If you hit an old lady with a bat, then you should go there. If you push somebody in front of a subway, you should go there." So now Trump is trying to say, not only are we just going to be, by the way, like, listen, let's just be really fucking frank for a second. This is how concentration camps happened. If you go revisit World War II, those concentration camps weren't all in Germany. In fact, most of them weren't. They sent them other places, so they. And when the courts rule that we must bring them back, we're going to say no. What's stopping them from locking me up? Just a guy that says things that aren't very flattering of Donald Trump. Why wouldn't they just lock me? Why wouldn't they just pick me up, put me in a plane, throw me in an El Salvadoran jail? If they can get away with it, why wouldn't they do it to American citizens? And you've heard Donald Trump speak. You've heard him talk about locking up his opponents. He's talking about throwing people in jail for treason at 60 Minutes right now. There are a lot of us right now who didn't vote for this guy, who don't like him. Some of us make our living talking about politics. And a lot of us are very nervous right now that so many of you guys are willing to just be like, oh, this is no big deal. When he won't follow orders and he's saying we're going to send Americans next.
Yeah, I mean, Bill knows we come from the same region and everything I was able to pull up. I mean, like what happened in 1991, 1992. It's I'm not gonna say that it scares the hell out of me, but it gives me the creeps because I don't, it's the uncertainty. I don't know what the hell is gonna happen tomorrow. You know what I mean? And that's what kind of gives me the creeps.
There's got to be more behind it. They can't just say no, making an error.
Yes, they can, because they've been doing it, Bill. Yes, they can. That's the issue that, some of us are trying to bring up. And of course, you got the people on the other side who are yelling for it.
I don't understand why we would even say, like, this is shocking. This is the same guy who let out all the Jan 6ers. This is the same guy who just said, like, you guys don't have to go to prison anymore. This is the same guy who's taking every crypto scammer in the world and saying, yeah, don't worry about it. We're not going to investigate you anymore. It's the same guy that is taking scammer after scammer after scammer. He does not give a single solitary fuck about justice. I don't know why we're surprised. It's so frustrating to have 10 years of this guy spit in the face of justice and spit in the face of the Constitution and spit in the face of the law. And we're still trying to convince you guys that maybe, just maybe, he doesn't give a fuck. And even now, when he's deporting people and won't bring them back, we still have you just like trying so hard to be like, oh no, this must be a mistake. This is what it's like. Hold on, I'm almost done. This is what it's like to leave a cult. And I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm saying that as somebody who left a cult when even when the evidence was overwhelming and obvious, there was this part of me that was like, no, there must be some excuse. There must be some excuse. And even sometimes I still think like maybe there is an excuse. There was never an excuse. You guys have just turned a blind eye to this because he says things that you like, whatever it might be. But I can't believe that 10 years later, with everything we've learned from history, especially where you're from, you guys came here because your country was torn apart by this type of shit. And now you're here and you're like, no, it would never happen in America. It can happen anywhere. And it's happening in America. And everybody that doesn't live here, that doesn't love Trump, everybody else across the world recognizes it. You've been taught that we are your enemy, and you've been taught that we're your enemy, and now you sit back and watch this guy go after the people that you've been taught are your enemies, and that's why you don't care. He's dehumanized us. He's completely eroded trust in the media and in the government, despite like things that are absolutely true. That every person who voted for Trump, like 90% of you all know he lost the 2020 election. And this guy stands in front of your face every day, still every day, and says, I won that election. And he didn't. He will lie to you every day. And you guys have always found a way to just be like, oh, no, it must be something else. It's not. It's not. He's a narcissist. He's a sociopath. He doesn't care about anybody, including his own family. He has no lifelong friends. Everybody who started with him is gone now, or they've gone to prison and they're still sticking around. And we just keep coming back every day. Like maybe this billionaire narcissist today is going to be the day that suddenly he does something for us. It's exhausting. Honestly, it's exhausting. To still, I can't, I'm shocked that we're still fighting about this. This is so obvious. Everybody can see it unless you voted for Trump.
Listen, I would love to Yeah, I got nothing, bro. I got nothing. I would love to rebut anything, and I got nothing. I really don't. I'll be honest, I got nothing.
because I
these guys are
can't argue anything that you just said.
It's crazy. They're in the
mean,
Oval Office yesterday, and they're saying that the Supreme Court ruled 9-0 against them. And Donald Trump and Stephen Miller are standing in front of the American press, and they're saying the Supreme Court ruled 9-0 in our favor. They're just lying back to the appellate court, and they went back today to go back there and present evidence. And they're there today presenting evidence. And yet Donald Trump and Stephen Miller are telling you that they won that case. If they won that case, why did they send their lawyers to court today? To a place that they were told in that order they had to go. It is crazy. We are not living on the same planet anymore. We're living in, everybody's living in the real world, and then MAGA is living in the Trump world, where what's up is down, what's black is white, when it's dark, it's light. It's crazy. They will lie right to your face about the most obvious lies, and we still can't get you guys to be like, uh-oh, I got duped. I think that it's pride, honestly, and I've done this. I spent 30 plus years in a cult, so I can't really talk shit about anybody who's been in the Trump cult for 9 years or however long. I did 30 years, so I understand it's hard to leave, but this is pretty goddamn obvious at this point. By the way, I left my cult because all the people in my cult were all following Trump and treating him the same way they treated our prophet, who they believed speak to God. In fact, some of my friends, because the prophet, the guy that they believed speaks to God, disagreed with Trump on a couple of things. I'm with MAGA. It's actually a bit stronger cult than most of the others. It's a very, very strong cult.
I would like to, I don't know, I need to clear something up because it's real funny. Even people in the comments, I'm not MAGA. I've never been MAGA.
If you voted for Trump, you're MAGA. That's silly. Stop it. We're not going to play semantics. You voted for him.
No,
you're afraid to condemn him right now. Listen, this is what.
You're very wrong. You saw me
I'm not
buckle
wrong.
down.
I'm not wrong.
Can I finish this sentence, please?
Well, no, you decided to cut me off to talk to the chat.
No, I'm actually talking to you because you keep saying that I'm in a cult.
You are.
I've never been MAGA. No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm not MAGA.
It doesn't matter. Listen, you know who never says they're in a cult? I've never heard one person in a cult say they're in a cult. Everybody in my life that I grew up with, my family, they are all very upset every time I say that they're in a cult. Nobody says they're in a cult until they leave. But go ask the people who left MAGA. Go look at their interviews. Go watch them. The people that left MAGA, they all say, like, yeah, it was a cult. They all say it. The only people who you never know you're in a cult. I didn't know I was in a cult until I left. And even as I was leaving, I didn't really recognize it as a cult, because then after you leave, you kind of have to reprogram and you have to deconstruct, and you have to relearn, like, how you're conditioned and what types of conditioning you're likely to take on. And so you, at some point when this ends, a lot of you are going to have to figure out a way to process how you missed it all, how you missed these obvious lies all the way through. Because as soon as you admit that Donald Trump is lying, as soon as you can see through his facade and you can see, like, okay, he's lying about this, then you'll see through all the other lies too. And that's honestly, I have a lot of empathy and sympathy for the people that are going to have to go through that, because it's fucking devastating. It honestly is fucking devastating to realize that you've been lied to and that you demonized and treated people poorly for so long, or talked about people poorly, and it was based on lies. That's going to be really difficult to deal with. And I have empathy for that. And I'm probably one of the few people on my side of the aisle that says when people leave MAGA, you should give them a soft landing. You should be kind. You should be compassionate. You should be empathetic. You should be sympathetic. But that's just because of my life. Like, I've lived it, and it was nice to have a soft landing.
Yeah. Wish I can have a rebuttal, but I don't. I'll be honest. Straight up, I don't. I don't have nothing. I see Bushmaster? Really? Have you, Jay, have you ever dealt with him?
many times.
Bushmaster's a nice guy.
Wait, I appreciate you saying that. Wait till he talks to me, and you'll see how nice he is. You'll see.
Well, let him up. Admir, the only thing that's really upsetting me is, because you know very well, I got on this app 2 years ago, and I've even had issues with Republicans, MAGA. I've had issues for 2 years with them because I always said MAGA is just a slogan. And I've got people down there who I used to go head to head with pretending now that they were not MAGA. Okay, that's hypocritical. Those are hypocrites. I've only been a Republican, and I work with what my party gives me. As for calling out Trump on the bullshit that he has done and is still doing, I have. And like I said right now, with everything that he just explained with the guy that's been deported, I need to read into it more. But I don't agree with it. He should be brought back.
All right.
Are you letting Bushmaster up?
Well, that's up to RTP, man. I
don't care. Listen, anybody can come up. It's your live, not my decision.
I
don't really have a problem with Bushmaster. He just usually gets upset
That's who
with
I
me.
am. I'm scared of Jen. That's who I worry about.
Okay. I see a bunch of people in the comments, and I think there's quite a few that agree with RTP. If you agree with RTP, hop out of requests, because we're not trying to have people who agree with him. We're not looking to do that circle jerk. So if you guys are, please drop out, or I'll have to kick you out.
The circle jerk's later.
Or do you want to talk to people that you haven't talked to before? Because I know you've talked to Bushmaster 1,000 times. So.
I don't care. It's Amir's live.
No. Hey, listen, it might be my live, but Jen runs it. So listen, Jen, I really am scared of Jen. So Jen, your call. Do what you need to do. You scared the shit out of me. So.
You've got like an inch and a half on me. I mean.
Wow. That's all I'll say is wow.
Right.
Wow. But Bill, we're gonna bring him up and all of that.
I'll be right back. Belle, it was good talking to you. If you're gone when I get back, I'll be right back.
You two are too.
Okay.
Admir, I don't know. I don't know where you stand. Where do you stand right now? Are you still Republican or Democrat, or just
listen?
Against?
I'm not.
Conservative can go both ways. Conservative can go both ways.
I understand, but this shit that's been going on, I think we need to get together and figure out how we can reach this message to the people that we know that are still into that whole thing. You know what I mean? We need to reach out to them because this shit is getting out of control. It really is. It's getting out of control. We need to get together, figure out a plan, how we can talk to them without them going, and you know how they go. So if there's a way, I'm almost.
I get it. I do think he's moving fast. He's moving a little too fast with everything. He's doing too much all at once, and this is what you get, right? You get mistakes, errors, but I do wish that he would be more understanding. You get mistakes, errors, understanding, and take a loss for once and say, okay, we effed up over here, we're gonna fix it, right? That I want to see that. I wish I could see that right now.
So, Bill, let me ask you a question. I've asked a couple of people today, and basically I got denied. So I'm gonna ask you a question. Is there anything that Trump can do for you to say, you know what, fuck this, I'm not doing this? Or what can the administration do where you're gonna say, all right, you know what, I fucked up. I did not. This is not what I voted for. Is there anything that he can do?
When it happens, I'll let you know. It's gotta be.
This isn't it.
I'm waiting to see them fix it. I'm waiting for them to fix it. They got.
So the fact that they haven't fixed it, so even if they fix it later, you're just cool with them telling the Supreme Court no?
No, I'm not okay with that.
But it's not a deal breaker.
It is a little bit. It is a little bit.
All right. Well, Belle, thank you for coming up
Thank you. You
and all
guys have a
that. I
good
appreciate
night.
it. I'll talk to you
Absolutely.
later and all that. So
Ciao,
Good talking.
ciao.
again, thank you.
Thanks,
Bye
Belle.
bye. Good night.
See you, Belle.
How do I drop?
Doc,
What's up?
how you been, man?
I'm pretty good.
Good. You ever dealt with RTP?
Yeah, I've been listening to y'all for a little while.
Okay. Well, the rules are simple. You talk to him, I go on mute. All I ask is no over talking, no name calling. Something like that happens, I come in and I pretty much shut it down. So I'll go on mute and you kind of talk to him, whatever is on your mind.
Cool.
All right, have at it.
All right. I have one big question. Did y'all ever take the time to watch any of the Trump rallies while we showed up in mass numbers and cheered him on?
Yep.
Why did we do that?
I think you liked him.
Because we stand by what he's doing. This is why we put him in there. This is what we voted for.
Okay. So you voted for him to do things that are unconstitutional, is what you're saying.
Not doing things unconstitutional. He's doing it the best way that he can to fix a mess that should have never happened to begin with.
So if the court rules that it's unconstitutional and he says it's not, who do you believe?
What are you saying is unconstitutional they ruled on?
The court just ruled that he does not, that he has to return this person from El Salvador, and he said no.
That's not what they said.
It's what they said.
No,
Then why were his attorneys in court today?
What they said was he had to give due process. Do you know what the due process would be if that guy was brought back from El Salvador?
Yes, but you have to be in person for due process. So if he's not here, and real quick, if he's not here, and they say he has to be given due process, wouldn't he have to be back here?
I understand how you're trying to lay it out, but if he come back here, what would happen?
We don't know.
We do know he would be deported to a different
No,
country.
I know that's what Marco Rubio said, but Marco Rubio is not a judge. It would be placed before the court.
No, common sense tells you that.
No, I don't give a fuck about common sense. I care about the Constitution.
The Constitution was written off of common sense. Thank God that it's there.
That common sense isn't a thing. In fact, the Constitution is written off of uncommon sense. Common sense at the time said that you should be beholden to a dictator. Uncommon sense was to say, let's try something new. Let's try this democracy thing, and let's write a constitution so one person can't have all the power, and there's checks and balances. And part of that uncommon sense that they used to write the Constitution checked by both the executive or the judicial and legislative branch. And right now he's being checked by the judicial branch, and he's saying, I don't care.
He's been checked over and over and over and over and over and over and more and more and more. But
That's because he's a criminal.
I mean, that's fine that that's happening, but still, there was a mess caused here. Do you agree with that?
No.
At least you don't. Well, then it's hard to have a conversation because you're not.
This guy came to the country when he was 16. His last court case happened under the Trump administration. So I've got real questions how you're going to blame this on Joe Biden. He came here before Joe Biden was in office. His court case was under the Trump administration, and he's still here. So I've got real questions on how you think you can blame this on Joe Biden.
No, wait a minute. He's not still here. He's in El Salvador.
Well, he was still here until they removed him, yeah.
I just can't understand why the left simp so hard. They're simping for China. They're simping for...
Nobody's simping. Nobody's simping. We're saying that the president should we're saying that the president should adhere to the law, and you're running from this conversation saying that we're simping. I think that the president is not... I don't think that the president should be allowed to tell the Supreme Court no. Do you disagree?
He's not telling them no.
He literally said no, bro. He said no.
When did he say no?
When he was in the Oval Office yesterday, and they asked him if he was going to bring... When they asked him in the Oval if he was going to bring this man back, he said no.
He didn't say no.
He said no.
If that's the way you took it, I mean, I guess...
Well, how else am I supposed to take the word fucking no, dude? He said no.
Did you hear what the president of El Salvador said?
Yes, and this proves my point. The president of El Salvador said, I can't bring him back Because that goes against this administration's wishes, which means now I'm smuggling somebody into the United States against the president's will. That's what Bukele said.
He said he wasn't going to smuggle him back into the United States.
Right. Which if the judge orders him, hold on, Doc, if the judge orders him to be returned to the United States, is that smuggling?
Look, those judges.
Please answer that question. Please answer that question. The Supreme Court, 9-0, all those conservative judges that Trump appointed, they're against him now too?
No, they're not.
Oh, so why'd they rule against him?
They didn't rule against him.
It was 9-0, dude. They absolutely did.
They interpreted the Constitution for what it is.
Which was Trump saying, I don't have to listen to the courts. No. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, you fucking do. And he said, no thanks.
I think that you hear things the way you want to hear it.
I think you don't. I read it, dude, but I didn't hear it. I read it. Did you read the Supreme Court decision?
I watch it and listen to it.
You watched the Supreme Court?
I watched the damn what they show you.
Brother, listen, everybody here on your side and my side knows our credentials. Everybody knows I look up my shit. If you're afraid to engage in the conversation and you want to just start saying, like, I just believe people when you don't have an answer, we should move on to somebody else. The reality is you have no clue what you're talking about. You are exactly what I just accused the last person of. You're just in a cult. You just keep defending shit without an argument.
That you keep putting in parentheses. Is that your family?
I didn't put it in parentheses. I haven't put parentheses once. You're in a cult.
God, because they're Christians and vote Republican. Is that what
you guys worship Trump over God? All right, let's talk about it then. Let's talk about it then. You think Jesus would say, take all these immigrants and deport them and throw them in prison? Is that what Jesus would do?
Jesus would do everything completely different than any human being.
Okay, so why are you supporting what Trump wants to do rather than what Jesus would want you to do if you're a Christian?
Cult. Is that your family that's Christian?
If you are a Christian and not a member of the MAGA cult, then why are you choosing what Trump wants to do over what Jesus would do?
I'm going to take that as a yes. It's your family that you're talking about is a cult that worships God and votes Republican. I knew it. I knew it by the way you talk. It don't take a psychiatrist to pick that brain that you think you're just on top of everybody and highly over fucking educated.
With all due respect, sir, you have no clue what I've been through. You have no clue about that. You have no clue. You have no clue. With all due respect, sir, you have no clue the cult that I was in. You don't know anything about me. You're just another cult member. You did this last week too when you tried to yell at me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna listen to it. Bush, are you there? Bushmaster, if you can hear me, I'm gonna disconnect you and then come right back up. I think if they said in yeah, man. Good evening, sir. How you doing? Or ma'am?
Not doing too bad. Can you hear me?
Yes. No, I can.
All right, cool.
I can't, for some reason, it's just, is it Black Falchion?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. If you don't mind me asking, who'd you vote for?
Trump.
Okay, perfect. Well, if you've been listening in here for a while, we do this every Tuesday. I also voted for Trump. RTP is the opposition. So if there's anything on your mind that you want to talk to him, do what you need to do. I'm just here to do what I did with the last guest. I'm not going to have it where you overtalk one another, and I'll do the same thing with RTP. Just have a cordial conversation. Whoever starts it, I'll finish it real quick. So,
okay.
Deal?
Easy.
Bushmaster, hey, I see you down there. Give it a couple of minutes, man, and I'll bring you back up. So I'm gonna go on mute. I'm gonna finish my chicken, and you guys have at it.
All right. First of all, how you doing tonight?
Good, man. How are you?
Not doing too bad. So I want to take the conversation a little bit of a different route because, so I just want you to know why I voted for Trump and why a lot of other people voted for Trump. I have a very unique perspective. So I would not necessarily call myself one of the MAGA people. I am very critical of both sides of the extreme, where you will just accept one person wholly, totally, without any sort of criticisms whatsoever. I have various criticisms of how Donald Trump has done things, but here's why I voted for him, even accepting that there were some things that I didn't agree with from the beginning. So, a little bit about my background. In August of 2021, I was with the 82nd Airborne Division, and we got deployed over to Afghanistan for the withdrawal for the last 2 weeks from August 17th to the 31st. So I was there literally up until the last day, and I was one of the last 3 planes out of the country. While I was there, we witnessed more atrocities and human rights violations than anyone could possibly imagine. I am talking hundreds, if not thousands of people just dead. I have watched families, including women and children, get massacred and shot in the streets for a conflict that never should have happened in the first place. But that is not a part of this. When you have a president who is campaigning on no new wars, a lot of people don't really think about that beyond the whole, oh yeah, we're just going to get involved in another 20-year conflict. A lot of people become very detached to the concept of what a war actually is and what evil actually looks like. When people are critical of Joe Biden's performance when it came to the withdrawal, most people do not have any idea just how bad it was over there. From the moment I set foot on the ground in that country, we were entirely surrounded by Taliban fighters on all sides.
Can I ask you a question real quick? Can I ask you a question real quick? Because I appreciate your perspective. I understand why people voted for Trump. I'm not trying to relitigate why people voted for Trump. I want to know why you're still supporting him now.
Sure. So when it comes to the deportations, I'm going to give him a 99% approval rate on that, with an understanding that there have been some egregious mistakes made. I would not necessarily consider myself one of those people that's, like in the party of 10 guilty people should walk free for every one innocent person. Inevitably, with operations that come to a much larger scale, mistakes are going to be made.
How do you feel about
the? How do you feel about the?
Can I ask you? Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about the January 6th people being let off the hook and having being given pardons?
So, based on what I have seen from just like looking at the video footage of this, like security footage from what happened on that day, they were clearly let into the Capitol. Now, here's my thing about it.
The question I asked you was about. Wait, the question I asked you was.
I'm getting to that. So, I would like to create a delineation between legal and stupid. Everything that those people were doing up until the point at which they entered the Capitol was legal.
Wrong. They also passed through the barricades. They also assaulted police officers. There was guns that were fired in the air. They scaled the scaffolding. They were trespassing from that very moment. They trespassed many times before they entered the building, and they committed acts of violence. And those that didn't commit acts of violence, nobody stepped in to try and save the police. Nobody stepped in. Okay. These were all people pushing from the back.
That's something I won't say that I'm an expert on, but anyone who committed a violent act, yes, throw them in prison. I agree.
Okay. But we didn't. Now Trump pardoned them. So now how do we say that this guy...
No. He didn't pardon the violent ones.
Yes, he did. He pardoned everyone. He pardoned everyone. It was a blanket pardon. Every violent criminal from January 6th was pardoned.
Do you have names?
Yes. Brian Holmes. Yeah. Fuck him. Yeah, okay. His name is Brian Holmes.
It was a blanket pardon, man. Everybody, even the people that were convicted to like 40 years for a seditious conspiracy, where they proved beyond a reasonable doubt in front of a jury of their peers that they had a conspiracy to undermine democracy and to take over the Capitol. Those people, they were pardoned too.
So, all right. So again, violent offenders, regardless of what happened at the end of the day, you should be in prison. If you assaulted another human being with no just cause, it was not in self-defense or the defense of somebody else, you should be thrown in jail.
Was there any potential for any of those people to be violent criminals that were, it was self-defense?
That is going to be, so that's going to be a little bit of speculation. I don't know.
It's not. You can't. Hold on. If you pass the barricades, if you fight in hand-to-hand combat with the police who are telling you you cannot enter, like there's no justification for that.
If you're the one who started it, then I agree.
Oh, but if it just kicked off and then you started fighting cops, then you should be off the hook.
Again, it's a little bit situational. No, if you're just a part of the crowd, if you're just going on mob mentality, no, I don't agree with mob mentality. It doesn't matter what side you're on.
So you're saying those people also committed a crime? You're saying that they also committed a crime, right? So I don't want to.
Yeah, if you started it or you are just taking a part of mob mentality, you committed a crime. Simple as that.
All right, so all of them committed a crime.
Not everyone that was there committed a crime. It started off as a protest.
Everybody who was convicted of a crime committed a crime.
The barricade. So whether or not this is legal, this is going to be my stance on it. The federal buildings are for all people in this country. I do not believe that you should be able to protest or to be like trespassing, rather, in a building that is full of servants that were voted for and elected by.
Yeah, but that, I don't care what you believe because the law is the law, right?
And to an extent, I agree. Yes.
All right. It seems like it seems like that's what we run into a lot with Trump in defending him, is that most of the time what MAGA does is they say, I understand it's against the law, but I don't agree with the law. I understand he was convicted, but I don't agree with the conviction. I understand he was held liable, but it was just civil. My real question is, if we're going to talk about it, like, I want to know why people support Trump now. He's deporting people. You said 99% correct, 99% correct, which is a crazy number because 75% of the people that he has deported and put in the El Salvador in jail, we have no evidence that they have committed a crime. So you're saying that you have a 99%, you're saying that he has a 99% approval rating despite showing any evidence that these people have committed crimes.
So I'm going to tackle this on two fronts. So first of all, one, those people should not have been in the country in the first place. If somebody was in this country legally, right, they sought asylum, they were okay to be in this country, them being deported is a mistake, unless they committed a crime.
So why is Trump saying no when it's time to bring them back? But hold on then. Trump is saying he won't bring those people back. So people that are legally here in the country that were deported on an accusation that they were a member of a gang with no evidence. Those people have been deported. The court ruled that they had to be brought back, and Trump said no.
So when you say no evidence, so you're just blanket putting that there was no evidence to support that any of those people were in gangs?
No, I said for 75% of the people, the United States government has provided no evidence that they were members of gangs. In fact, most of them have just said they had tattoos that identified them as a gang.
Right.
Trende Aragua, they don't have tattoos. They don't have gang tattoos. So a bunch of people have been. I know, but these people, a lot of these people are being sent because of tattoos that identify them with Trende Aragua. That's the hairdresser. The hairdresser, they said those were Trende Aragua tattoos. They don't have tattoos. They can have tattoos, but they're not like gang tattoos.
Okay. But then let me ask you this. So you said that there's no evidence that these people are gang affiliated and whatnot.
Well, what I said is
the government has not with a ledger for all of these people.
What I'm saying is the government has not provided us evidence. There could be evidence on some of them, but we have not been provided that evidence.
Right. But under I think it's the Alien Protections Act.
Alien enemies, alien enemies, yeah.
Does it actually state that he has to provide us evidence of that? Because if they have information on people that incriminates them as gang affiliated, gang associated, or having committed some other type of crime, are they obligated to put that information in front of our eyes when we're talking tens or hundreds of thousands of people?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because
brother, how would you prove that somebody's here illegally or they're a member of a gang if you don't prove it?
Well, how are they identified if we set this? It's not like they just go around randomly just grabbing people.
Kind of feels like it. But if we set this standard that the government can detain you, deport you, and imprison you in a foreign country without providing evidence, I can tell you what, as somebody whose my job is to talk about politics and I'm pretty critical of this guy, that doesn't make me feel very safe. And that same guy said, you know who's next? Homegrown terrorists. If all it takes to be deported from this country to lose your visa is support for Palestine, and that makes you a terrorist, then why am I not a terrorist? Why does me saying I say free Palestine, why am I not a terrorist then?
You're not the ones they're talking about.
Well, not yet.
You're not.
But what's the difference between me and those people? What's the difference?
The ones that he's specifically talking about are the ones that are on educational visas in colleges that are assaulting Jewish
what's
students.
The difference in our position? What's the difference in our position?
The difference is some of those people are violent or threatening innocent people. You are just here using your First Amendment right.
They've provided no evidence of that. You're just saying that. You have no evidence that these people are violent criminals.
There's video evidence all over the place.
Not of any of the people. Not of any of the people that we've seen picked up and arrested. What about Mahmoud Khalil? Mahmoud Khalil is on video silencing somebody who comes down the stairs who he says was not part of their protest. I might be mixing up Mahmoud Khalil and somebody else. It's one of them. He's on video silencing somebody who's coming down saying, like, death to all the Jews. He's publicly said that, like, the attacks on October 7th were a massive miscalculation, a mistake, because he knew that this meant that Israel would attack Palestine and they would be unrelenting. His opinion is the same as my opinion, and he's here legally. So why are we deporting that person and saying that that is a terrorist? And if we can deport that person and say they're a terrorist, then why can't... Hold on, almost there.
Okay, all right.
If we can deport that person and say they're a terrorist, what is going to stop Donald Trump from using his powers, his wartime powers perhaps, of saying, you are a terrorist, I'll imprison you? For just a bit of history, we've taken American citizens and we have put them in concentration camps in World War II. There is a way to do it.
So, all right. So just because the dude was here legally doesn't mean that he was here permanently. If he was on an educational visa, and I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on this, I'm just speaking visa. I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on this. I'm just speaking. He starts spouting off death to Jews, including death to American citizens.
Which he didn't. He didn't do that. There's no evidence provided that he did that. See, you guys keep having to make up these stories. Again, they have not provided you these stories. These stories don't exist. In order for you to justify what Trump is doing, you're now making up scenarios that don't exist, that they've given us no evidence of. I don't know why it is so goddamn hard to get American citizens to say, we should not deport people without due process. We should not be able to say there's evidence when they provide no evidence and just deport people. That's crazy. Why can't we agree on this? How in America can we not say that if you're accused of something, somebody should have to prove it instead of just throwing you in prison?
So here's the thing. Do police officers put warrants on websites before they go arrest people?
These aren't police officers, bud.
Who do you think is going picking them up? Just like
I say ICE agents.
Okay. All right,
they're doing it with warrants that are not signed by a judge. And I watched a video today of ICE agents showing up at a house and saying, we're coming in, and they're like, no, that person's not here, and you don't have a warrant signed by a judge. And the ICE agent says, oh, well, we emailed it to you. We emailed you the warrant. It's not a warrant, and they had emailed it to him 3 minutes earlier.
6 hours in advance.
It's not a warrant.
Still going to be there?
It's not a warrant. A judge
Is it not a
didn't
warrant in the
sign the
conventional
warrant.
sense, or is it a different type of warrant? Because everything in the federal government is different document numbers.
So
There's
it does
always
not
different
allow
types of
you to.
documents.
It does not allow you to enter their domicile. Like if they get you on the side of the street, they can do it, but they can't come into your home. You have rights, but again, whether it's legal or not, why the fuck are we defending it? Why are we defending loopholes when we're going and getting people without evidence and throwing them in prison without evidence? Why are you defending it? I'm not asking you if there's loopholes, because clearly there are. But why the fuck are you, the individual, defending that behavior? That's crazy. I don't know. I'm emotional and I apologize, but I can't fathom that my country that I grew up in is going around and just arresting people and throwing them in prison. And when they make a mistake, they go, "Ah, fuck it. We're not doing anything about it." This isn't where I grew up. This isn't America. This isn't what we were founded on. And the only reason you're defending it is because you voted for Trump and you don't want to admit that this is happening.
I specifically said at the start that I'm critical of Donald Trump. Did I not?
You said, yeah, but about what?
So obviously he has made mistakes during this. As he made
I would like specific
plentiful amounts of
examples.
mistakes during the COVID-19
I want
stuff.
specific examples of him making mistakes during this time.
So hold on a second. I'm gonna interject just real quick. Hold on, just real quick. Hey, we got over 700 people, and if you guys can just tap, and if you guys can, RTP is doing an amazing job. So is the guest. Please gift RTP, gift the guest. I know we can do it. Let's get RTP at least to about 5K. Just tap the screen. Let's get more people in here and keep going. I apologize. Go ahead, sir.
We good?
Oh yeah, I just want to say, please do not. Yeah, please. I only put these 20 damn roses, so it gets the algorithm. But do not give me gift RTP and the guest, please.
All right, fair enough. All right, so starting off with the things, right? Because I like to we can be civil about this. I am critical of Donald Trump for every single person that he has sent out of this country improperly. Being that I am not an expert on what the full process is, I'm also willing to accept that there are some things that are probably expedited or changed from the conventional process for this one. Now,
why are you comfortable with that?
Part of my willingness to accept that is the fact that we've had millions of people coming into the country illegally, which poses a very significant security concern.
Are you talking about asylum seekers?
Not everyone that comes into the country is an asylum seeker.
The overwhelming majority of people who entered our country during the Biden administration were asylum seekers. That's a legal process.
Okay, so if you're an actual asylum seeker, then fair enough. How many of those people were probably marked as asylum seekers, but were not actually asylum seekers?
Zero. Everybody. All you have to do is claim asylum. That's the rules.
Okay. But should you not have to prove it?
You should, and that's why they go to court. That's why there's asylum court.
So how long do you think it takes for the average person to get through an asylum court whenever you have millions upon millions of people that are coming in?
Lots of years. Some people are waiting up to like 5 years.
Right, and that's an unavoidable thing. So
it's not unavoidable. In fact, if you James Langford, who's a Republican senator, wrote a bill, a bipartisan bill in the Senate to address this very thing, to get more resources to the border because Congress controls the purse, to get more judges, to expedite the process, to change the process. If we're going to change the process, get more judges and fund our immigration, then we have to do that through Congress because they control the purse. And everybody in the Senate was like, cool, this is going to work for us. And then they sent it down to the House to vote on, and Mike Johnson wouldn't bring it to the floor. And Mike Johnson didn't bring it to the floor because Donald Trump told him not to, because Trump wanted to run on the broken border that only he could fix. So again, I appreciate you going there, and I appreciate you making every answer take like 20 minutes, but I want to know right now, you said that you recognize that Donald Trump has made mistakes right now in today's time. Why are you not as mad as I am? Why are you not furious that Donald Trump has made mistakes, his administration admits the mistakes, and their response to the judge is, fuck you. No thanks. We're not going to do what you say. You guys can't convince me that you care about America and the Constitution and you're freedom-loving patriots. And I served for this country. I fought for the Constitution. And then Donald Trump shits on the Constitution, and you're like, well, it's still 99% and he's great.
Because he's better than the alternative by an absolute landslide.
How? You don't know that, but that's the thing with you guys.
No, I do know
this
that.
Is what they said. This is what they said in Germany. This is what they said in Germany. Well, we don't really like what Hitler's doing, but we do like his politics. Bro, how are politics more important to you than people's dignity, than human life, than actual justice, than due process?
13 of my brothers got blown up in Afghanistan less than a mile away from me at a gate, because Biden's Secretary of Defense would not authorize a single person to shoot him in the head. They knew
I'm really sorry that I'm really sorry that happened to you. I am, and the Biden administration fucked up.
Let me finish my point.
Let me finish, please. But Biden wasn't the fucking alternative. And Biden wasn't ignoring due process for American citizens. You will address anything but the fact. You'll address again. I asked you about due process, and you went back to your military service. Again, I'm not trying to denigrate your service, but it sounds an awful lot like you're trying to use what happened to you in Afghanistan as a reason to justify the mistreatment of people today. And I'm very sorry for what happened. And Joe Biden did fuck it up, and so did Donald Trump, who wrote the plan, by the way, but you didn't hold him accountable for that. But I want to know right now why the fact that something bad happened to you in Afghanistan means that you don't give a fuck about due process for people here in the United States.
Due process, though. Let's talk about due process.
Let's talk about it. Thank you.
Okay, so how did Joe Biden violate due process and could have potentially put me in prison? His ATF director decided to put out a ruling.
Bro, I asked you to talk about what's happening right now. You are a coward running from this right now. You want to talk about nothing but Joe Biden
if you'd actually let me finish
address what's happening. Listen, address this, and I'll be happy for you to relitigate Joe Biden. When we get through this conversation, we can go back and we can talk about Joe Biden. I bet you'll find that I agree with you a lot. But what you're doing right now is coming up with any excuse as to why you're not willing right now to say, the guy I voted for doesn't give a fuck about the Constitution, and he's trampling over due process. And I don't care because some bad things happened to me. I want to know why you are not up in arms. You swore an oath to defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I would say that an American politician, I'm almost done. I know you don't like this, but I would say that looking at a president, supporting a president who is in open defiance of the Supreme Court would not be you defending us against all enemies, foreign and domestic. It sounds an awful lot like you are supporting the enemy.
So, okay, couple things. So first of all, supporting the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, is another way of saying killing somebody, which
it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Really? It is not.
Okay, let's curtail it away from that because we can agree to disagree.
No, we can't agree to. No, we cannot agree. Wait, we cannot agree to disagree because most people who enter the military never take a single life. Most people who enter the military never see combat. So, did those people? Was their oath just bullshit because they didn't kill somebody?
No. Let me finish.
Okay, so it obviously has more meaning than just that, right?
So let me finish.
You did finish. You said we were leaving and agreeing to disagree.
I've got two more major points that I would like to make.
Okay. Wait, but can we stay on point?
Yes. But
all right.
These are my points.
Are they? Do they have to do with this?
Just let me get through them. If every time a president of the United States violated the Constitution, we had to get up in arms and go through a whole process for that, we would never have a president actually doing his job. Now, like I said,
wrong. No, you have to. If you're going to say that, you have to give me an example of any other president who defied the Supreme Court's orders, who the Supreme Court ordered him to do something and he said, no, thank you.
Joe Biden.
When?
Pistol brace ruling.
What?
Pistol brace ruling. Do you know what a pistol brace is?
I do know what a pistol brace is. What did Joe Biden said that we're just going to put it into law anyways?
So his ATF director changed a ruling that pistols did not their pistol braces to not change pistols into short-barreled rifles. Overnight, that ruling made 40 million people, not 40 million, it was like 10 million. There's 10 million people felons. The Supreme Court said no. He ignored it. That is me.
Listen,
Well, you just
hold on, Jay. Hold on, Jay.
That's not
Hold
true.
on, Jay. Let me hold on. Hey, Black. Listen, man. While I appreciate you having up here, man, I got a headache. I appreciate you being up here, but I gotta move on, man. I can't. You're not willing to have this conversation. You keep pivoting. I appreciate you. Nothing against you. I just don't have the patience tonight. Appreciate you having up here and all of that.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
I just want to point out that the Supreme Court did not rule on that, and they are appealing it. And so there is an appeal that's ongoing. I think it might have, this was August 9th. I think that currently there is still ongoing appeals. So all that was a lie. All that, and this was frustrating. Like, nobody wants to address it. They just want to play whataboutism. And that's a sad place we're at in the country right now, where something this obvious we can't.
Bushmaster, are you still in Bushmaster? If you're down there, just let me know. Uh-oh. Damn, Jen is on point tonight. Come on. Bushmaster, if you can hear me, bro, I think you've been on here long enough and all that. So drop down. I'm going to reinvite you. And if not, I'm just going to bring Spartacus. Bushmaster, if you can hear me, bro, I just invited you. I guess. Oh, okay. I guess not. All right, Spartacus.
Hello.
Spartacus. What's up,
How
man?
you
How you
doing?
been?
Good evening.
Good. I'm just trying to fill my belly, bro. I ate my whole chicken and I'm having some peanut butter. And so, yeah, it's been a good night so far. I'm eating well. But I seen you going down in the comments, man. So I'm sure you watch this. Rules are simple. No over talking. I'm having a little bit of rough night and all of that. So I'm going to let you guys do it. Have fun.
Let's do this. So RTP, I saw you really emotional earlier about deportation and due process and all that. But what do you think about the Patriot Act, bro?
I hate the Patriot Act.
Okay, so why aren't you calling your representative and your senator to get that repealed?
So are you just saying I can't talk about anything else until the Patriot Act is repealed?
No, I'm just saying that's another tool in their belt that they can do the bullshit that they're doing right now. And we know both sides will do it, but as long as
I've talked to my congressman in person about the Patriot Act. I've criticized him. Unfortunately, I have a very MAGA, deep red member of Congress that represents me, so he hasn't heard from me much. But I did see you say I was crashing out. I would like to say this. I'm sorry that my emotion bothers you, but do you want to discuss this, or do you just want to point to other things that you think I should be upset about that I'm not currently upset about?
But as soon as Donald Trump labeled XYZ gang members as T groups, technically they can do whatever they want. And
I think
it's serving the Patriot Act.
I hate that.
Yes.
I hate that. Do you like that?
Why don't you focus your anger towards that? No, I don't like it. The Patriot Act.
Then why are you talking about the Patriot Act right now and not this?
About what?
Why are you not talking about Donald Trump unilaterally saying that people are terrorists and not having to provide any information to get them deported?
But he labeled them T groups, bro.
And then he's deporting them without evidence.
They've been vetted by intel organizations and foreign
Says who?
entities as
Says
T
who?
groups.
Says who?
The FBI, CIA,
Oh,
NSA.
so you just trust them?
I don't trust them, but I'm saying,
Oh.
like, why don't you focus your
Well,
anger
I don't
and your
either. So I
desire
want
and
evidence.
hatred towards the Patriot Act and
Because
getting
this
that
is
shit out of here.
because this is going on right now, and I don't ignore injustices. And I'm not going to play what
Injustices
about,
have been
and
going
you're
on
playing.
since the
Listen,
Patriot
brother,
Act,
do you want to
bro.
talk about this topic or not? I'm not interested in what you think I should be more upset about. If you want to talk about this, we can talk about
cracking up,
this.
bro.
But it's a really silly thing for you to come up here and just be like, bro, you should care about something else instead. I care about both.
But it's the root of it. It's the root of our problems, bro.
The Patriot Act is the root of it?
Yes.
How?
Of course.
How?
Of course it is.
How?
When they declared war on T groups, they can label anybody as T groups and they can do whatever the heck they want. They can take United States citizens, do whatever they want to them. They can take freaking foreign nationals and immigrants and do whatever they want with it.
So why do you think? So let me ask you a
put
question
your-
then. Why do you think the Patriot Act has not been overturned?
Because they don't want it to.
Who doesn't?
Who do you think, man? The crooked ass politicians.
I guess I'm wondering why.
For 30, 40 years, 50 years.
Let me ask the question a little Let me ask the question a little differently. And now you're crashing out, so calm down. I want to know why the American public has not demanded that the Patriot Act be overturned. Just in general, like it seems like most of us probably agree that it was wrong.
Because they used fear against us. They labeled people that we thought that we had to be against. I served in Afghanistan, Iraq. I served in Kosovo. I served in the Balkans. Come on now. Like,
okay, so but that's not, you're just pivoting again to like, and I appreciate your service.
I'm not
but
pivoting.
I just want to hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I want to know. I guess maybe my question isn't very clear. Here's what I would say. I would say that most Americans don't really give a fuck about the Patriot Act because it doesn't ever really. But I agree with you.
It should.
I know, but wait for this. I think the reason that they don't care.
You agreed with me.
I do agree with you. Just let me finish. I think that the reason that most people don't care is because it never affects them. And the way that you're going to get people to care about the Patriot Act is showing when our government misuses their power and goes against the courts and says, fuck you, we do what we want. So this would be a great, like, you should be on board with me here. And if we talk about this specifically, that lays the groundwork to go and connect the libertarians who hate the Patriot Act, the socialists who hate the Patriot Act, and then the factions of the Democrat and Republican Party who hate the Patriot Act. This is a really good example of what happens when you give the executive branch too much power, like we did with the Patriot Act. If you want to get rid of the Patriot Act, just like I do, I think what we ought to do is make a really big fucking deal when our government oversteps, especially when there's a spotlight like there is now. This is a great opportunity for us to go, you and I, to both go out and use our voices and be passionate and talk about the things we care about. And maybe we can lay the groundwork for a lot of people who probably don't even know that the Patriot Act exists. And we can say, look at this. And by the way, and this has been my argument all night. My argument all night has been, if they can do this to these people, they can do it to me. I'm saying the same shit that those people who are being deported are saying. So why wouldn't they do it to me? If they can label criticizing Israel as a terrorist act or make me a T group, then they can do the same thing to me. I'm just saying, I think you and I agree on all this shit.
The thing is, the difference between them and me is that I don't have a T group label on my head. But the thing is the Patriot Act is what started the police state, man.
I agree.
And then my thing is like, we can use these different examples, right? We focus on one thing, we scream the loudest. But in 2010, did you hate the Patriot Act?
No, but I was a Republican back then.
But dude,
I was wrong. I was just, dude, I was just wrong. I was wrong. I'm an open-minded guy. If you show me I'm wrong about something, I'll change my mind. That's the only reason I'm not a Republican anymore. It was not beneficial for me to not be a Republican. I lost everything. I lost my family. I lost my friends. I lost my position in the Republican Party. I'll change my mind. The Patriot Act is one of the things that kind of radicalized me. When I learned about Ed Snowden specifically, and I learned about what we do to people who leak and leak information that we want. I don't like the Patriot Act at all. I think this is a good opportunity for a lot of people who don't remember 2001 and say, like, hey, if our government can do this, if they can say no more due process, and if they can ignore Supreme Court orders, then what's stopping them from doing it to me? What's stopping them from doing it to you? Because the way I look at it, if Trump can take somebody, deport them, put them in an El Salvadoran jail, and then the courts say you have to bring them back, and he goes, sorry, it's out of my hands. Why can't he kidnap me in the middle of the night and send me to El Salvador? And when the court says you have to bring him back, he goes, sorry, it's out of my hands.
But is that exactly what the court said, or is it a facilitate? Because facilitating means like if El Salvador says, hey, we're going to send them back to the United States, we have to facilitate that, right? And then isn't he going to come back here, and aren't they going to do the same thing? They're going to say, oh, he's going to be deported, and then he's going to go again.
Maybe, but at least he would get the due process. And I'm interested in due process. If the court, if we don't put our foot down on this, if we don't say, even if it seems pedantic, even if it seems like it's just an extra flight for no reason, I would rather we take extra steps to ensure due process than just say, oh, well, it was going to happen anyways. I want to see what would happen in court. Because this guy's been to court multiple times. And the last time he went to court, the judge ruled that he could stay here, that if he was sent back to El Salvador, he would be in danger.
Was it a holding order? Like,
yeah,
so
holding order.
They said that he had to stay here, or we had to send him somewhere else other than El Salvador.
He was given a holding order, and then basically was said that we can't send him back to El Salvador, and you can't deport somebody back. You can't deport somebody to a country they didn't come from, right? We obviously can't do that, or we didn't used to be able to do that. That seems to be up in the air now.
In the Patriot Act, we can. Like,
right.
we used to do things to American citizens. Like, you know, those people that are on MySpace and putting certain things on there, and all of a sudden you never heard from them again?
Yeah.
So we need to direct our energy towards the Patriot Act. So we need to call our representatives, our senators, and get on the phone with them and say, hey, we need to repeal this shit. Because that's when it took our citizenship and everything else that falls under the umbrella, whether it be a green card holder, a worker, they can do anything they want to us. And then when they repeal the Smith-Mundt Act, they can use the media against us.
Sure. So when you look at the history of people, like specific laws in the United States being overturned, generally what happens is that something egregious happens and it kind of wakes everybody up. And I think this is one of those moments. I don't know how long you've been here, but we've had good conversations. What has happened every time is every single Republican who's come up here has admitted, every Republican that's come up here has admitted that what Trump did was outside of the Constitution. And a lot of people probably don't know about the Patriot Act. So I'm just saying, like, I agree with you, and maybe the advice you're giving is actually pretty good advice, that instead of just saying this as a standalone, I should tie it to the Patriot Act so it's more encompassing. But I don't think we should ignore this and call, because our representatives, they're not going to care, but they're getting heat for this. So I think you're right. We should attach it to, like, overall, this is what our government does, and we could use this as a moment to do more change than what I'm currently advocating for. If that's what you mean, then I'm with you. I agree, and I appreciate the correction.
Yes, totally, man. Like, I appreciate what you do. I appreciate like you voicing your opinion and everything, but like we have to. There's a bigger picture for a reason, and it's been here for a long time, and you know that as well as I. So we need to like come together and tie these little things together and make it full circle. Because if not, we're going to continue seeing this bullshit, man. Our politicians are going to keep using the narrative against us as a whole. The media is going to keep using things against us as a whole. And we need to be able to make sure that the executive branch, the legislative branch, the judicial branch are all staying in their column. So
I agree. Yeah. But that's gonna take a lot of people being very vocally opposed to Donald Trump. People are gonna have to specifically go after Trump.
Man, though. It's not about.
It is right now. It is right now.
Right now,
because he's a branch of government.
Because that man can go, but that act will still be there.
But yeah, right. But if you can, here's the thing that I think that maybe, where I do have some expertise, I think that you probably have more expertise in intelligence than I do, but maybe where I have a little more expertise is in politics. And I can, like, nobody does anything unless, like, especially when it comes to turning against their own party, unless they're absolutely forced to. Republicans, the entire Watergate era, were like, no, Nixon's right, and then it was irrefutable. This is one of those acts that is irrefutable, and I think that if people hold Donald Trump accountable for this, it's going to open the door, and it's going to set for everybody in Congress, it's going to give them a mandate that you've got to stop government overreach. So I think that this can be like the catalyst, but I do think it's really important, and I don't think anybody should stop talking about it. And those that maybe have a little more experience like you know, maybe I think you should start a live, and I think you should get that message out and make sure that people that are talking about this make that connection. But I do think that this should be front and center right now. And then once you get people on the same page, be like, oh, and by the way, this is the Patriot Act, so we better get rid of that too. That'll be a lot easier.
Now,
Let me, Spartacus, hold on. So let me ask you something, Spartacus.
what's up, man?
So since you agree and all that, and you're in agreement, when do you want to do this? Because I'll be the first one to join you.
Yeah.
When do you want to do this? Is it tomorrow?
I'll start tomorrow.
Shit, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it tomorrow. It doesn't matter if it's on my live, your live, wherever, and let's start it.
I appreciate
I'll be the
that.
first one. I'll be the first one with you.
I totally appreciate that. I mean, because we got a lot of division in our nation right now. And there's a lot of things that are going on around us that it doesn't feel right. And it started out with the Patriot Act because when a lot of people saw that, and me, I was in high school, sitting there in class, watching it on the TV screen and seeing that happen. And then that allowed me as a person to not just see that our comfort, our securities, our constitutional republic was just thrown out the window. And it hurt me. I joined the military to try to fight it. So I went to Afghanistan, I went to Iraq, and even then I knew that it wasn't right. So we need to start looking at the acts that were put into place to protect us as citizens. And we need to look at the acts that were put into place that wasn't on our best accord. It wasn't for us. So I appreciate you guys letting me come up here. RTP, keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks,
Admir,
brother.
I appreciate you, man.
No, Spartacus, I'll reach out to you, and if you're down with it, let's start it up. I'll be the first one with you, and let's do it. I'd say the way I'm looking at it, I think it's enough for us to start it. I think we need to voice it, and I think we need to show action instead of just talking about it.
Yes,
I think we need to start. Yeah, I'm game. Do it.
It's taking these little things that are happening, whether it's administrations in the past or administrations current. We need to take these little things and make it full circle.
But I just want you to understand that what you're gonna get into tomorrow, you're gonna get a lot of heat. So don't quit on me. Don't quit on me. I know you got thick skin, but yeah, I know you got thick skin, but this is gonna be hell. So
Admir's trauma dumping on you right now.
No, but yeah, I'll reach out to you tomorrow, and let's do it. I'm game, and I'm for real. I'm game. So I'll reach out, and everybody there is almost 700 people. Will be live either on your live. It doesn't matter if it's mine, yours. I don't care whose it is. All right, man. Thank you very much for coming up here.
Hey, let people come up here, voice your opinions, keep this shit going. We need
Thanks, brother.
We need this.
You
Thanks, brother.
You stay safe, man.
Good talking to you.
I really don't think he knows what he's into. But I really don't think he understands what he's into, man. I like Spartacus. He's always been, yeah.
People are going to turn him into a dog here soon. They're going to
man, I'm telling you, I really don't understand. I mean, he should, because he sees what's going on with me and the shit that I go through. So I'm hoping that he understands it. But I really don't think he's going to be able to. Jen, what's going on?
There's tons of people in the requests. If you agree with RTP, please drop out of requests. We're only looking for opposition. So if you're in request and you agree with Jay, please drop out. If not, I'm gonna have to kick you out when you come up. So
yeah, and also if you're in a request and you did vote for Trump, just put a 1 down. Just put a 1 in the comments, and we'll bring you up.
But yeah, that's all.
No problem, Spartacus, man. I appreciate it, and I'll stay in touch with you. Wait.
Sully doesn't disagree with me. He's just mad that I made fun of Cybertrucks earlier.
No, but what I was going to say is Ash said that she's 1, so good luck with that, bro.
She said what?
I said put down 1, and she put down 1 as she disagrees with you. So
she can't even fake being a MAGA supporter for more than 5 minutes. There's no chance.
Golly. Clayton, good evening, sir. How you doing?
Hey guys, good evening. Nice combo you had there before. I was.
Is this what I think it is?
I don't. No, I'm new. I can't be who you think.
All right, your voice just kind of. Yeah, I was like, whoa, hold up. I was like, damn, don't. I'll let you know once you start continuing to talk. But if I think who it is, man, I'm.
No, trust me. It's I don't know who you think, but no.
Okay, fair enough.
Just a little quick something from what you guys were just talking about with the Patriot Act and all that. It's almost like a school, 30 years ago, they take away kids smoking cigarettes. Then 20 years ago, they take away off-campus privilege. And then they take away this and this. And now all of a sudden, there's less and less and less freedom. And it never goes back the other way. Same thing as an American citizen. Once they get that censorship on you, it's very, very hard to dial that back. And I agree with what both of you were saying. But I came up here to talk about, you asked, why do you still support Trump amongst all of the things that he's doing? And I kind of wanted to voice that.
Sure.
So for me,
just before you're gonna, I apologize. I'm sure you've been in the queue for a little bit, and you heard with each guest in simple terms. No over talking, no yelling, no name calling, and that's
yeah. No,
so
I would compare my mannerism to the Black Falcon guy. I'm not going to overtalk people.
Fair enough, man. Thank you.
I voted for him majorly because of his economic positions. And, the deportation, I still agree with him. I don't agree with that guy that got sent to El Salvador. He just seemed like he's really unlucky. And you kind of understand the administration's position where, okay, he's not technically a citizen. He's in their country. It's up to them to do what they want with him. But, unfair and unlucky that he got sent there.
You can't be it's not like they cast this wide net and just happened to pick up some people. Like they were looking for him. They went for him. They said that they targeted him. They arrested him. They put him in detention. They flew him to El Salvador. Like this isn't like a simple mistake. They said that he was a member of a gang and they didn't have evidence to back that up. And they threw him in an El Salvadoran prison. And now they are saying, fuck you to the Supreme Court. Like this is a constitutional crisis. I don't know why I can't get I don't know what could Trump could have all the best policies in the world. He could agree with everything I want. He could be screaming for the rooftops for universal health care, which is what I want more than anything. And he still would be. It would still be a constitutional crisis. He told the Supreme Court no. So we have to understand how serious this is.
And I apologize to interrupt you, Clay. I apologize, but I just gotta address this clown. Hey, Boston Brian, I see you talking all that stuff, all that. So if you're that,
brother, that's a friendly. That's a friendly.
Oh, that's a friend, man.
Yeah, he's my friend. Don't worry about it. He's my friend.
Damn it, Boston.
He just is talking shit. He's great. Yeah, you're good.
Right, I guess I'm beta.
That's right.
All right, I'll pick back up. So what we like, I would think, is for the 4 years of the Biden administration, it seemed, probably from your perspective as well, that no one was in charge. And no message.
I disagree with that.
Okay, well, let me just finish first. No message from the American public was being addressed, and Trump continuously resonates and feels the pain points from the average American. Illegal immigration, crime, common sense, I know you hate the term common sense, but just, women in sports and all of that stuff, but mainly the economy. And all of this wealth has just been printed, in part his fault when he started printing money in 2020, carried through by Biden. But the situation has just gotten out of control. Debt is being uncontrolled. China's fighting us back with the 10-year yield. But 88% of stocks and assets are owned by the top 1%. And most of those individuals are wealthy, older generation individuals.
You mean Trump's cabinet? Like most of those people are in Trump. Literally, one of the people that owns like 40% of the wealth, 50% is in his cabinet, cutting spending for poor people. Bro, what are we talking again? But even if all this stuff is true, what you're saying right now is, I understand that Trump is a threat to democracy. I understand that he is violating the Constitution and refusing the direction from the Supreme Court. But what about his economic policies? This is the exact argument, and I'm not trying to do like the Hitler thing, but this is the exact argument. He says what I want to hear. He's for the people. He's for the working class. He recognizes that immigrants have destroyed our country, and he's just going to do the hard work. He's going to do what it takes, even if he has to eliminate all opposition parties to do it. We just support it. This is how it happens. Brother, you're ignoring somebody, the only president of your lifetime, to just tell the Supreme Court no. And you're like, but I like his economic policies. That's crazy to me to say, like, we'll do fascism for economics.
I would say, as far as eliminating opposition parties, that was not him. He was persecuted against for that. And you could say felon. But let's be honest, it was to go after him. If he was not running for president, none of that would happen.
What?
I think he inspires hope.
Those charges came mostly before he announced he was running for president again. I agree with you that a lot
2016 or 2024.
He announced in like late 2022, or 2023.
They were going after him since 2016. So
because he's a criminal.
Okay. So
and they said, by the way, this is the same thing they said about Hitler. Let me give you a perfect one-to-one comparison.
Do you want to know why I still support him or not?
Well, I do. I mean, sort of, but if you're going to do this, like, I guess maybe we need to speed it up. What I want to know is, are you saying that him putting in policies you like is more important than him following the Constitution?
I think it's human interest to follow human.
It's not my question, bud. My question is about you.
Yes, for me, yes. I care about me, myself, and I, and my family and friends close to me.
Well, that sucks, man. Because what you're saying is we're going to do fascism.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. I think he inspires hope for all of his voters who felt like they had no voice, had no say in what was happening. And now all of a sudden you have a guy, Elon Musk, where you put something on Twitter, an idea on Twitter, it catches momentum, and they
hold on,
put
real
it
quick.
in action. You keep interrupting me.
Let me ask you. I know I'm going to have to, because you keep if you're going to have a conversation, you can't do 50 points at once. We got to go one by one. I'm just asking you a question. When you said you have no voice, what did you mean by that? What do you mean you didn't have a voice?
Donald Trump campaigned on what we want.
I know, but you said
into action.
You felt like you didn't have I know, but you said you felt like you didn't have a voice. What do you mean by that?
I felt they were just printing money, making the wealth gap further and further. Just not listening to people who are trying to buy a home, people who are now working second jobs. I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, they got women into the workforce, and what happened? Nothing
Oh, God. All right, I think you don't. Let me just say, so first of all, when Trump is in office, you know who doesn't feel like they have a voice? Us. Well, I didn't feel like we had much of a voice in the first Trump administration. So would you have been comfortable when Biden got in office of saying, if Biden just told the Supreme Court, fuck you? And we're like, well, we didn't have a voice before. And so Biden speaks for us. And since he's defying the Supreme Court, we're just cool with it.
What would you say?
You would not have accepted that. You'd be more upset than I am right now.
What would you say about Bill Maher having dinner with him? He's a reasonable person. He really is. He was a Democrat 30 years ago. He ran as an independent a couple decades ago. He's not this crazy ideological person.
What the fuck are you talking about Bill Maher for? Can you stay on subject?
Well, I'm trying to tell you why I still support him, and you're not letting me speak.
Because you're just listing a bunch of reasons, and I need you to tell me what is more important than the Constitution.
He does what he says, and that's the only politician in my lifetime. I'm 32. In my lifetime, that is doing what they campaigned on.
No, he's not.
He campaigned on things that we wanted.
Joe Biden campaigned on passing an infrastructure bill. Did he pass it?
Did he pass the infrastructure bill? Yes, he passed it. Did that money?
Okay, so I guess there's a president. Obama campaigned on
but what came from it? What came from it? What came from Obamacare? Healthcare premium shot up. It's worse for all of us.
Brother,
they are all great in theory, but they don't work out.
Jesus Christ, man. You just said he's the only one who did what he campaigned on. And I just named the two presidents on each side of him that also did what they campaigned on. What the fuck are you talking about? I need you to explain why these things are more important than the Constitution.
They checked the box on the things they campaigned on. They didn't make change and they didn't make impact. They said, okay, we did this, but they made it worse.
The southern border? Do we have a wall across the southern border that Mexico paid for?
A good portion of it's not finished, but yeah, we do.
No, we don't. I live on a border state. We built like less than 50 miles of new wall, and Mexico paid for $0. Did Hillary Clinton get locked? Did Hillary Clinton get locked? Did Hillary Clinton get locked up? Did Trump end the wars in Ukraine and Israel on day one? This dude,
that's your best point.
This dude, the problem that we have is Donald Trump has made thousands of promises, and most of them he hasn't kept. And you guys, when he gets up there on stage and he goes, I'm the only one that keeps my promises, and then they just keep repeating it, now you're repeating it. But he's no different than any other president. Some of their agenda gets done, some of it doesn't.
No.
Every president in my lifetime has been exactly the same. The only difference is none of those other presidents stood on stage and said, I fulfilled all my promises, even though they didn't. Trump's telling you he fulfilled all his promises, and he didn't. And you're up here repeating it like he did. He didn't. But I would like to get back to this. So you're saying that in your perfect world, everybody just does what Donald Trump says, and you're comfortable with that, and that's how our country runs. Supreme Court, do what he says. Congress, do what he says, because you voted for him, and so you're comfortable undoing the Constitution, 250 years of this experiment, and you're saying, I'm tired of this experiment, let's do fascism. Is that what you're saying?
No, we're not doing fascism, and
this is fascism, buddy. This is fascism.
What's happening is he's taking action that he's a populist, right?
No.
He's doing what the people want.
No, he's not a populist.
He is deeply a populist. He doesn't align with Republican values. He doesn't align with Democratic values. He's the only person who got into office. You keep interrupting me.
Because a populist is somebody who's doing things that the population, like the majority population, wants to get done. He's not doing things that are popular. He's doing things that are wildly unpopular.
His stance on abortion is a populist opinion. Leave it to the states. Leave it to the culture of the states.
He hasn't done anything on abortion, but he's doing things that are wildly unpopular with a majority of Americans. He's not a populist. You're just saying words that you keep hearing, but you don't know what they mean.
I am not. No,
if you do things that the majority of the country don't want you to do, are you a populist?
Name something he's done that the majority does not want him to do.
These deportations.
I agree, and I believe a lot of other people. The tariffs, people don't understand. You can't tell me
Donald Trump doesn't know what a tariff is. You don't get to say other people don't understand them. If Donald Trump can't explain who pays tariffs, you don't get to accuse other people of not knowing.
Well, we don't pay tariffs. That for sure is.
Oh,
is
good
not
Lord! Who pays the tariffs then? Who pays it?
The company is going to have to slim profit margin to survive and keep cash flow and revenue going.
And where is that company located?
Well, there's companies across the board. Apple flying in iPhones as fast as they can.
Where is the company that pays the tariff located?
The company that pays the tariff is located here in the United States. Yes.
So that company pays the tariff, right?
The company will pay the tariff and not have to cut headcount.
And Donald Trump says that the other countries pay the tariff.
No, but the consumer is not.
But Donald Trump, no, it's not the argument. Donald Trump says the other country pays the tariff, right?
Yes. And
okay, so why are you up here disagreeing with Donald Trump? What are you doing here? You're saying he understands tariffs, but you're also admitting he doesn't know what a tariff is.
If these tariffs stay the exact same a year from now, he's wrong. I will completely agree with you.
It'll last for a day, brother. They don't last for a day. He keeps getting his ass kicked in every tariff trade negotiation.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm investing in China because I think they have the upper hand and don't have a reason to come to the table because their middle class has grown from 2% to 50% in the last 20 years. They've become their own consumer. They've taken a global market share. Trust me, I think it's going to be a lot longer stalemate than he wants. But I do think we are also losing leverage and have to do this now.
We don't have any leverage.
And why do
we need to put tariffs on? What benefit is tariffs to us?
Tariffs is just a way to try and spark a negotiation, and it's not working because they do have a lot stronger position than he believes.
Then why is he doubling down on it?
He wants to create chaos, leave them in the dark about what our agenda is, get a sense of urgency, and then try and negotiate. Yeah, you keep going off.
Yeah, my bad. I do that. China is going and negotiating deals with other countries.
Europe first. And if they make a deal with Europe first, we're in trouble. Yeah, I agree with you. But
so why not? So here's the thing. There's no benefit to you and to I to have these tariffs. None. This is Donald Trump not understanding something. This is just like the election. He doesn't know how tariffs work. And he got caught not knowing what tariffs work. And rather than saying, I don't know how tariffs work, he's just doing the most nonsensical trade war. And he doesn't understand how it works.
Would you agree with me that he needs to lower, or we need to lower interest rates without increasing inflation? That would be ideal for the economy right now.
Well, he doesn't have any control over that.
He doesn't. But you have to force those conditions. So you have to make a little bit of economic pain. I was saying on Twitter.
What would be the conditions then? How would tariffs force the Fed? The Fed now is, if you're saying like, are we going to lower interest rates? Why does the Fed lower interest rates? What are the conditions that would make them lower interest rates?
A recession. You would need a recession. You would need financial hardship in order to lower interest rates. Because if you lower interest rates before them, it's just going to cause another round of inflation and it's going to get out of control. And you don't want that. And they're eyeing a new Fed chair in 2026 who's probably going to be a puppet. So they're going to blame and scapegoat Powell. He's going to keep rates high as the economy goes in the pooper. He's going to be the scapegoat. Interest rates will lower. We can refinance our debt. People will be able to afford mortgages again.
Whoa. We got to go back.
Okay.
When's the last time we had a recession? Like a massive recession?
Yeah, 2022 doesn't count.
2008,
2008,
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when that recession happened, did it bring down interest rates?
Yeah, but something was broken in our financial system.
Hold on. It brought down interest rates. And who was able to go in and acquire properties? Mostly.
Yes,
people with liquidity, right?
Yes.
And we saw a massive transfer of wealth. Why would this be any different? If we go into a recession, if we go into a recession to drop interest rates, will wealth inequality get better or worse?
I believe it'll get better, but you can't really trust people to make the right decisions for themselves. But if half the country is in debt and own no assets, this then gets those people opportunity who have been priced out of assets, and especially the middle class, which is now just becoming the poor.
I'm not sure you understand what the interest rates are. If they lower interest
7%.
rates, I know not what it is. If they lower the interest rate, let's say I've got a mortgage. My mortgage, I was fortunate.
I don't want them to lower interest rates, by the way.
If we lower interest rates, it does not change the amount I'm paying on debt. The debt that I'm paying is the debt that I agreed to. So if it's a credit card, it's 25%. If it's my mortgage, it's whatever percent my mortgage. It doesn't help me. You're advocating for you recognize Trump is trying to cause a recession. You also recognize that recessions in this country, especially in this way, make wealth inequality significantly worse. And now you're saying like this time it won't. That's wild.
Honestly, I think it's the housing market is where it starts and where we need it to happen. I mean, the wealthy are trying to offload their assets. Warren Buffett wants to get rid of his portfolio, his real estate portfolio. You're seeing it calm down a lot, and people are over leveraged. So if we have a recession, people that own those assets are going to want to liquidate those assets. People, the older class that are in stocks,
who can't liquidate their assets? Most of America cannot liquidate that.
People without
most
assets,
of America.
Yeah.
Most of America.
Yes, you're correct.
So-
Most of America do not have assets.
So these people are going to liquidate their assets. Then the economy crashes. Do you think Warren Buffett, once a crash happens, won't go and reinvest in real estate?
Well, here's what we want to happen is
Could you
for
answer that question real
unemployment.
quick? Could you answer that question real quick? Do
Warren
you
Buffett
think
will sell it right here and buy it up at the bottom. You're right.
okay,
Yes.
and he'll buy as much as he can, right?
I would assume so. Yeah.
And do you think Donald Trump will put protections saying that corporations and the 1% can't buy unlimited houses?
And that's what needs to come with it. If he doesn't, then you're right. It's just a repetitive cycle of, we keep the same proportions and, that last scene in margin call.
So just to be clear, what you're saying is you recognize that Trump, one, is not keeping the Constitution. Two, he's crashing the economy so that we have a recession. And you are just hoping that a person who has never said that he would put protections in suddenly will come up with a new idea that he's never said before, that he will put in protections and to make it so that the rich people can't benefit. And by the way, the richest cabinet in history by a trillion miles. A cabinet full of billionaires. You're saying that Donald Trump suddenly, at that point, will, for the first time in his political life, he will put the working class above the billionaire class. And
that's
again,
what
he
the
hasn't
Fed
said that.
keeps coming out to say. That's why these tariffs are in place, because companies will not raise prices to the degree that everyone's fear mongering.
They're already raising prices.
Their profit margins. They will have to trim their profit margins. It cannot sustain that way.
They're already doing it.
It will
They're
not
doing it
sustain.
without tariffs in place, bud. They're doing every time this has happened. Every time Trump has threatened to put tariffs on a country, the markets respond by increasing prices to prepare for the tariffs, and then Trump drops the tariffs. And do the prices come down? No.
I have a couple jobs, but one of them is commercial roofing materials. And we've seen that, we have a chemical that's imported from China. We hiked the prices, tariffs came off. We didn't lower them. So I understand what you're saying. But then when this was back in 2022, when demand fell, then we did lower prices. So It does not fall with the news of tariffs. It falls with the economic response.
Right.
Just
and
like anything, supply and demand.
Right. So then why do we need tariffs?
Like I said, tariffs are just a negotiating tool because we can afford to do them right now.
We cannot afford to do them right now. We're $37 trillion in debt right now. We just lowered our revenues. The Republican budget will increase our deficit by $1.9 trillion. They are increasing spending and they are decreasing revenues while also saying that they're going to now go out there and have a trade war. You know that he's crashing the economy on purpose. And I appreciate your honesty with that. But I'm just telling you, this pipe dream you have, your support for Donald Trump relies on the idea that Donald Trump will suddenly, like out of nowhere, just be like, hey, got you motherfuckers. I was planning this the whole time. And what I'm really going to do is I'm going to make it so corporations can't buy houses. And I'm going to give all these benefits to home buyers. You know he's not going to do that. He's not. He's going to bail out his friends, dude.
I might just be an unlucky person you're speaking with, because that was my stance when November happened and he got elected. I was sort the market from January. I was a little too early, but eventually it started to happen. I think we need to have it happen. I don't think it's a choice. It has to happen.
Well, I think that if you want to talk about how it has to happen and how it's going to crash, I think if we look back at 2008 and you look at
you just want to keep unemployment. You want to keep unemployment from spiking.
If you want to look back at 2008 and compare it to what's going on now, that the reason that 2008 was such a global problem is that people invested in the United States and they invested in these real estate. There are these mortgage-backed securities, and the mortgage-backed securities were tied into everybody's retirement and everybody's investment portfolio. And they had adjustable rates that kicked in when default rates went up. And now, most of the hold on. Now, most of our value is tied up in. The most valuable companies are tech companies, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's what I think the best thing Biden and Pelosi did was get that semiconductor info.
Did you know that VCs, for anybody in that, venture capitalists, the people who fund all these pre-revenue and no revenue or negative revenue tech companies, did you know that they have been giving out loans that the collateral is their stock. And these collateralized loan obligations sound an awful lot like collateralized debt obligations that crashed our market. These collateralized loan obligations that are backed by stock have adjustable rates when the default rates kick in. And did you know that the default rates are raising and that this will accelerate? So who's going to be left holding the bag? It's going to be Peter Thiel. It's
But
Elon
we don't
Musk.
have to bail them out.
Hold on. It's Mark Andreessen. It's Mark Zuckerberg. It's Jeff Bezos. And when Donald Trump was elected to office, did he bring a bunch of people that will represent you up on the stage with him? Or did he bring up those billionaires? And is he now refusing to investigate crypto, where they have the ability to offload their wealth into an exit plan? Donald Trump is literally creating an exit plan in front of your face for these people to run scams, to increase their liquidity, to protect against a crash that they all know is coming because they created it. And you think that Donald Trump filled his cabinet full of these people who are going to be left holding the bag, and you think he's going to turn on his whole fucking cabinet for you?
Donald Trump's the one person where it works the other way around. It used to be big tech buys their politician to run. Now it's Donald Trump buying these big tech politicians. And the difference between now and 2008 is you don't have to bail out these big tech CEOs. They can fail. You had to bail out banks. How come you get a turn to speak and I don't?
You've interrupted me. You've interrupted me the entire time. I'm being patient. But again, you can't go from like point to point to point. Elon Musk spent $300 million. JD Vance, nobody was even thinking about JD Vance for VP until Donald Trump went to a fundraiser in San Francisco, and they gave him a bunch of money, and suddenly JD Vance was the pick because he's Peter Thiel's boy.
I'm using words to expedite my conversation to just get my point across quicker. No, he did not buy them. I see this chance. He's bought him.
They bought him.
No, they want his influence, and his influence is beneficial to them, of course.
For what? What do they want his influence for?
For business. Look at his following. Look at, you got a third of the country that are just blind idiots following him. And then you got 20% that have a reason. And then, 20% don't care. And then you got 20% on the other side, 30% on the other side.
Wait, so you're telling me that these people Elon gives them $300 million, and they get to place people in his cabinet. You're saying they did that they just wanted people in the cabinet?
No, they didn't want people in the cabinet. They want the most influential people of the world in that seat.
What do they want from him?
So they can have information.
For what?
They want influential people. They have the most influence in the world. All the tech
influence
CEOs.
For what?
On the future of the development of everything.
Oh, so Trump wants the people that are creating the financial crisis that we're in. He wants them in the cabinet. Is that what you're saying?
Here's the difference. In 2008, we had to bail out the banks because everything was connected to those mortgage-backed securities. Everything. We had to bail them out. Didn't have a choice. Banking system would have failed. All of that.
I disagree. First of all, I disagree. I disagree with that. I think you could have bailed out homeowners. But now I need you to explain to me how bailing out if we had to bail out the banks, why wouldn't we have to bail out these tech companies? You think Trump's going to let Apple, Google, Facebook, Twitter, you think he's going to let them fail?
So you were sniffing out the problem, but you didn't quite get there. Apple, Google, Facebook, they're not going belly up. The VCs and private equity are the black swan that's out there.
Brother, who do you think? Who do you think is funding all of these projects?
VCs and private equity.
Who are the biggest VCs? Who are the biggest VCs?
I don't know. I can name you private equity. I can't name you VCs.
How about private equity? How about Elon Musk? How about Peter Thiel? How about Mark Andreessen?
Yes, they can all go belly up. There's nothing wrong with them going belly up.
Those are the VCs.
There are VCs that can afford it.
Let me explain.
They're not on debt.
I think you missed it. I think you missed a part. I'll give you Elon Musk for an example. Elon Musk purchased Twitter. Did he spend his own money? No.
No, he didn't.
What did he use as collateral?
He used his stock options as collateral.
Okay, so all of these businesses that have collateralized loan obligations,
somebody else will build a Tesla.
Stock.
No one else can build a bank.
Their collateral is stock.
But it's so fine all if they crash.
Brother, they don't want it to crash. That's why they're in bed with Trump, is because they want a bailout.
They are hoping they get one. They're not going to, but they can
Well,
go belly up.
that's
It's
fucking
not the
wishful,
banking
dude.
system. It's
You think
wishful,
Trump?
but
You think Trump's going to look out for you instead of those guys that got him elected?
I think Trump, before he leaves the White House, is going to change the tax code to kind of spit in his face and what jumped him to the public limelight when he went at Hillary Clinton saying, "You take advantage of the same tax code I do, your donors."
I think,
but
brother, I think you're living in a fantasy. I think you're living in a fantasy land where all the
he's
people
done
that Trump
everything
spent.
he says. That's why he's got so many loyal followers.
No, he hasn't. He
doing
says
exactly what he's campaigned on, and that's what I wanted to bring back the conversation.
He said he was going to deport. He said he was going to deport people with no evidence that they were members of gangs.
If you lined up each person and told me, "Do I care if they're deported or not?" I would not have a problem with any of them.
Wait, could you answer that question first? Did he campaign on deporting people who are here legally, and just him saying like you're in a gang, so you have to go?
No, he did not campaign on that.
He did not. Okay, what has he done that he campaigned on?
Well, look at the southern border.
What has he done that he campaigned on?
The southern border crossings have stopped.
He said he was going to build a wall, which he hasn't done.
Disingenuous, and it's just as simple. I think that's silly. I mean, we have technology that surveys the wall. It's stupid.
So the stuff that he promises that he doesn't accomplish, you're just going to call it silly.
He shored up the border. The things he wanted to accomplish. That was a
what did he do to what did he do to shore up the border?
He put resources down there.
And now and where was the border when he took over? Where is it now?
Have plummeted. My girlfriend, she works for an NGO actually that helps migrant children find resources and things here. She's probably the only Trump voter in the entire office, but they've completely dried up. There are no children to help anymore. None. They had 60, 70, 80 cases a month, and they have 3.
Why is
3
that?
a month now.
Why
because the crossings have stopped.
I know, but what did Trump do to stop it?
He put resources at the border and has scared immigrants from coming here.
What did he put at the border?
Resources, people.
Would that stop asylum seekers from coming to the border?
No, asylum seekers can come in, do their due process, and come through.
Okay, but almost everybody that was coming, almost everybody that was coming here during the Biden administration was an asylum seeker.
Yeah, quote unquote asylum seeker.
Well, were they seeking asylum?
Yeah. And
so they were asylum seekers. And you just said Trump has done. And you just said wait, hold on. You just said Trump has done nothing to change the asylum laws. So now I'm confused because you said he stopped these people from showing up at the border, but then you just said that he hasn't done anything to change it. So what did he do?
Are you going to disagree that border crossings have decreased? Are you going to disagree?
No, what I'm going to do is what I'm going to do is keep asking you questions that you don't seem to have answers to. If you're going to make the claim, if you're going to make
outsmart me,
no. If you make a claim, if you make a claim, you should probably be able to back it up.
Yes, border crossings have plummeted. That's what I want to see. I want less migrants here. I understand. But my question is, what did he do?
So
I don't think. I know he didn't change a law. He's bragging about that he didn't have a law to change.
Let me ask you something.
It could have been put in place to start. Yeah, go ahead, host.
So if I pull up to show you that starting in August of last year, that the numbers have been going down to the crossing at the border. I mean, they just keep going down and down, and we see this pattern. So, I mean, is that still Trump's doing?
Yes. What do you mean?
So the stuff from before he was president, when it was going down before he was president, that was he gets credit for that too.
Well, how far before do you want to go? August?
Yeah, because I can show you that the numbers actually started going down from August and then September, and then they just took off in October, November, December.
Border crossings decreased in August and increased in October, November, December?
No. They kept going down.
Yeah, the best way to look at this is when Trump took office, January of 2025, when he assumed office, border crossings were down to, in January, 61,000 a month. Now, they did drop to 11,000. There was some change in reporting. I don't know how much I trust that number, but either way, The month December was 96,000. October was 106,000. September 101,000. August 107,000. It had been as high as like 250,000. Those numbers were coming down, but again, dude, like I just think that you're saying all of these things, and the real question is, why is all of this worth saying goodbye to our Constitution?
The other party was about to take away free speech online. That was scary.
Who?
That's totalitarian. Harris, the Biden-Harris administration.
What was she going to do?
They wanted to implement censorship online, just like they have in Europe.
Who advocated for that?
The Harris administration, the tech CEOs, before they, jump ship.
When did there was no Harris administration? I assume you mean Biden administration. When did the Biden administration?
The Harris administration.
When did the Biden administration talk about ways that they wanted to silence people's speech?
Well, it started with C-19.
When did they? I'm asking for a policy that they advocated for.
There was no policy, but I mean, even in her debates with him, she said that we need to control what is said online.
No, she didn't. She said that the laws need to. No, she said the laws need to apply online. So harassment laws that apply in person should also apply online. If harassment laws apply through the mail, they should also apply to online.
And just like I came out and said with the school analogy, that's where it starts, right?
Okay,
Once
well,
they grab a hold, they don't get back.
Okay, and first of all, there was no policy that they advocated for. But if we're talking about silencing speech, good Lord, no president of my lifetime has ever done more to silence speech through executive order than Donald Trump. Donald Trump is deporting people for saying that they support the Palestinians' right to live. He is suing every single news organization for not saying what he wants them to say. He's threatening to defund colleges who are unwilling to toe his party line. There has never been a president in our lifetime who has done more to silence speech in such a short time than Trump. You don't care about speech, man. And if you cared about people using their power to force tech companies to say what they want to say, then you've got to point out that when the Republicans brought all these people to Congress and they brought in Matt Taibbi, their star witness, and they said, do you have any examples of anybody in the Biden administration telling Facebook, Twitter, Google that they needed to take something down? He said no. And he said, okay, do you have any examples? And he said no. And smartly, they brought up, what about the time Donald Trump demanded that a tweet be taken down? There's only one example ever of a president demanding that a tweet be taken down, and it's Trump.
Zuckerberg outed the whole Biden administration for their influence on what was said online.
What he said is that they were asserting their influence, and that they were saying that this was dangerous. But Trump is doing that too. So I don't think you care about this. But Trump is actually signing executive orders killing speech every single day. His policies are speech killers. He is telling people that you can only identify one of two ways. You cannot. He's pulling down history off government websites. He's saying
culture and patriotism in the country has gone out the window.
You're not a patriot, bro. You're not a patriot. You're not a patriot.
Okay.
You're not a patriot. You are a redcoat. You're advocating for an oligarchy. You're advocating for fascism. You are a bootlicker. You are a boot. No, I'm not. These are not name calling. The patriots were the people who said, we don't want a king. You are the person advocating for a king right now. You don't fit the definition.
I'm not advocating for a king. His policies and what he ran on are what the people wanted. They resonated. He inspired hope by actually taking action on what we wanted to happen. There's been no politician in my lifetime. That's what everyone at the grassroots level is excited about Trump for. It's like, holy crap.
He's doing what we voted for this, bud.
I voted for this. We all voted for this. The culture in America
he didn't say he was going to do this.
So out of whack.
Wait a minute, hold on. You guys, you didn't vote for this.
Crazy.
You're fucking.
Yes, you're fucking. You can't tell me what I didn't vote for.
Hold on. Let me explain.
I voted for this. Absolutely.
He never said any of these plans publicly. Zero. So are you friends with Trump? Was he texting you? How did you find out about these plans that he never told anybody about? The only place these plans were in Project 2025, which he said I know nothing about, and I'm not going to follow. No, on his website, he said that he was going to go after.
Project 2025 was for more or less, listed in his website in a different way. His bullet points.
Oh yeah, he copied it, didn't he?
It's close. I mean, it is pretty close.
Why'd he lie about it then?
Lied about what? You're
Trump
going
said
off
he
topic.
wasn't going to. Trump said he wasn't going to do those things from Project 2025.
No, no.
Oh, he didn't. He didn't say that he wasn't going to do them.
Well, we're not even talking about anything. You're saying those things.
Okay, let's specifically talk about one of the videos that was on Agenda 47 that he took down. And what the video
Agenda
said,
47 is not Project 2012.
it's a copy of Project 2025, and you'll understand. He took down a video from his website where he said that he was going to fill the SEC, the FCC, and the FTC with loyalists, and that those loyalists would say that they would agree that
He wants
they
to
cannot
eliminate
be.
red tape.
I'm almost done. That they would not allow the FBI to investigate them. In fact, the only way the FBI could investigate them is if they approved it, and part of that is that they respond to the president, and they take their direction from the president. So when Donald Trump took office, one of the first things he did is he said, nobody can speak for this administration except for me and the attorney general. And then he went and he appointed loyalists in the FEC, the FTC, and the FCC. And those people did not, even though there's reasons to investigate them, even though there are reasons to investigate them, they are not being investigated because Donald Trump is the only person who apparently gets to say whether or not they get investigated. That was Project 2025. And he said he wasn't going to do it. And he got so much pushback from that video that he took it down, and his campaign disavowed it and said, that's no longer part of the plan. And yet they're doing it. So they lied to you. You're lying if you say that you knew Trump was going to do what he's doing now. You can say that you support it. That's fine. But if you're saying that the general public knew Trump was going to do this, you're lying because he never said any of this. In fact, every time we tried to bring it up, he lied about it.
As far as what you just led on to, no, I don't even know what you're talking about. But as far as
I'm sure you don't.
Taking short-term pain for long-term gain as far as the economy goes, yes. As far as social issues, where we want to establish a culture again and deport those that are against our country, yes. If you lined up each person
who did we deport that's against our country?
Well, all the people that the protesters from the Columbia University.
How is protesting them? How is saying that Palestine should be free an attack on our country?
Because that's not what they're saying.
Yes, they are.
They came. I live in Jersey. I live in Jersey City. Right.
I don't care. The people that he deported. The people that he deported.
And I hear it.
The people. I don't care. Listen. If we're going to deport people who are cruel to Jewish people, then why aren't we deporting white nationalists? Why aren't we out there shutting down white nationalists? Why is Nick Fuentes free to do his podcast every day? If it's such a crime, then why aren't we going after other people who criticize Jewish people? Because, and secondly, why is it? I'd like to know. You believe in free speech, right?
Of course.
Okay, so why is it a crime to be mean to Jewish people?
It's not. They could be mean to Jewish people.
So why are we deporting people? Why are we deporting people then?
Because they do not have America's best interests at heart. They support other countries and want other countries to have priority over America.
What does this have? What does this have to do with America?
Devotion is to another country. I don't want those people here. I don't want them influencing kids.
They are arguing between. They are picking a side between Israel and Palestine. What the fuck does this have to do with our country?
See, they're not arguing about Israel and Palestine. They are.
Yes, they are.
Arguing
That's what they're protesting.
The entire social order that we have.
No, they are advocating.
Gone above and beyond just Israel and Palestine.
The reason that they are protesting is they are protesting the colleges that they go to, and they are demanding that the colleges divest from Israel because Israel is committing a genocide. And so they are out protesting the college. They're not protesting the United States of America. Ask yourself, how come this administration, who's so tight with Israel, and they take money for Israel and do anything for Israel, why is it that we are locking people up for criticizing Israel in this country?
You won't see me defending Israel. I think there's something wrong.
Please explain. I know you like Nick Fuentes because I know you're a red pillar. It's fine. We all know where you're at. Like you're doing red pill talking points earlier. It's fine. I would like to know why you think it's fine that we're arresting people for criticizing Israel.
I don't have a problem with those people that are criticizing Israel. I have
Okay, then why are they being deported?
Because
you said that they don't have our
America's
country's interests. What are our interests? What are our interests? Israel? Is Israel our interest?
No, and I have a problem with that as well.
Okay,
there should not be an Israel.
Hold on. How is it that they're protesting Israel? They protest Israel, and you're like, well, they're protesting against our interests. They're protesting Israel. Okay, so that must mean that protesting Israel is against our interests. I think you've got a problem here. And you guys all have a problem right now. Candace Owens has this problem. Tucker Carlson has this problem. Nick Fuentes has this problem. You guys have a real fucking problem. Is that the people that you listen to are afraid of Trump. And Trump is doing something. And Trump is doing something to benefit Israel. And most of the people that you probably listen to, they don't really like Jewish people very much. And so it's confusing. So they are pointing the finger at anybody but Donald Trump. I covered Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson today, and both of them said the exact same thing. It's these people that are giving Trump bad advice. They're the real problem. None of you guys have the balls to turn on Donald Trump. And the reason you don't is because Clayton, if you publicly started talking bad about Trump, all of your friends would abandon you and you would be targeted. You know it the same way Candace Owens does, the same way Tucker Carlson does, and the same way Nick Fuentes does. And if you look, I know you watch Fuentes,
I just had to look up who Nick Fuentes is. I don't even know who that is. Everyone else I know. I didn't know Nick Fuentes.
Okay. Why don't they ever criticize Trump? It's Trump that's signing the executive orders to do this. Why don't they criticize him?
I would criticize him over the deportation of that El Salvador citizen.
But not the people who got deported for criticizing Israel?
No.
Oh, that's okay. Well, what the fuck are we talking about, bro?
Because
hold on. Okay, let's take just a little break. Just a little break. Listen, Mr. I can't read your name, Clay. Okay.
I'm not the guy you thought I was, right?
Yeah, no. That's a good thing. So, yes, Jen, yes. So my question to you, sir, and I asked this everybody that voted alongside with me, because if you ask me, I can tell you what that line is. So is there anything that the administration and Trump can do where you're going to say, hey, I fucked up on my vote?
Yeah, if unemployment goes above 20%, the tariff, the whole negation, that's a huge risk what he's doing right now. That could blow up in his face. If he were to, completely strike down, if the abortion issue, if he were to actually make that law and not leave it to the states, that would be kind of crazy backward movement to me. That would be a no. I don't know. Give me some of your guys' policies that you don't like about him. I'll tell you if I agree.
How about when the Supreme Court tells him he has to do something and he says no?
That's a silly generalization. No, we're not doing that.
It's silly to say, so you don't think the president should only be beholden to the Supreme Court when he wants to
bring him
back.
Be. How do you go about bringing him back? It's their citizen.
The same way you got him there. You fly a fucking plane down.
He's there though. It's their citizen.
Yeah.
You can't tell El Salvador what to do with an El Salvadorian citizen.
Well, they asked the El Salvadorian president if he would return him, and he said no, because I would have to smuggle him in, which means obviously our Supreme Court says you can bring him back, so it wouldn't be smuggling. So the only reason he would say smuggling is because
what power does Trump have to bring their citizen here?
I'm explaining it to you. The only reason he wouldn't send that citizen back is because Trump doesn't want him to, and he's making a fortune off of Donald Trump right now. So you could bring him back.
That's your opinion, but let's say he wanted to bring him back.
You have to negotiate and talk to the president of El
Salvador, right?
Wait, excuse me. You don't think that they're getting paid?
Getting paid how?
You don't think the United States is paying them?
I'm gonna do the Democrat thing. Source.
Hold up. Why do you think El Salvador is taking people that aren't El Salvadoran?
Well, no, like I said, we've negotiated with them. They are working with us, and I'm sure we'll get something in return. I don't know what that is, but to directly pay them, no.
We've paid them at least $6 million so far.
Okay, that is nothing. You think he cares about $6 million?
Do you know how much money $6 million is in El Salvador?
Yeah, transportation costs to get the people there.
We paid the transportation cost.
Yeah, okay.
And then we gave them $6 million.
No, that is the transportation cost.
No, it's not. This is a payment.
Yeah, to pay the security, extra policing, whatever it takes to take those people off the airport and into the prison.
And then house them.
Yeah.
We're paying
them just to pay them. It's not.
Yes, we are, dude. You don't think you listen? I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit crazy right now that now we've changed this to like, oh, it's just for administrative costs. We are paying to house them and keep them. And Trump yesterday said, you need to build 5 more prisons because I'm going to send more people and I'm going to send Americans there too.
I would love that.
Yeah, so
you know what China and Russia has over us? They have a culture and low crime.
Fascism. That's what they have over us. Fucking fascism.
Well, wouldn't you like if criminals were off the streets? Like, isn't that a nice thing to have?
Criminals aren't off the streets there either, dude. Their government are the criminals.
Well, that's true too. But
okay, and you're advocating for our government to be criminals. You're advocating right now for them to say fuck you to the Supreme Court, fuck you to the Constitution, do whatever you want. You just like power. You're a bootlicker. You like Big Daddy Trump because he does all the mean things and all that bigotry that you have inside of you. He validates that for you, and so you like it, and so you're willing to say like, oh, it'll never be me. I don't mind if people I don't like get thrown into jail. I would fucking love that. And by the way,
if you commit a crime and you're not a citizen, if you're a hardworking person, we need labor. We need illegal immigrants to work labor.
If Donald Trump can send somebody to an El Salvadoran jail without evidence, and then when the Supreme Court rules that there was no evidence and there was no due process, and you must bring that person back, and Donald Trump says no, then what's stopping him from doing it to me?
You can't. You're a citizen of the United States, and he has control to bring you back.
But if he arrests me and sends me to El Salvador, where I no longer am in the country, and they say you got to bring him back,
you're still a citizen of the United States.
I can't. El Salvador says they're not giving him up, and we don't have the ability to go to El Salvador and force them to do something.
They have a right to claim you because you're a citizen.
Excuse me, sir.
He is not a citizen.
Excuse me.
This is very simple.
We have hostages.
One at a time.
Hostages all over the world that we don't go save because we can't invade other countries. Russia has hostages.
Yep.
Yeah, and we don't go save them. So why can't Trump do that to me? Why can't he send me there? And by the way, I'm saying the same shit that the people he's sending to El Salvador are saying. You don't give a fuck about free speech. You don't. You just like when people
citizens.
You just
Those
like
people
when people
are criminals.
You just like when people who disagree with you get thrown in jail. That's what you don't like. You wouldn't blink. If I was thrown in jail, you wouldn't fucking blink. You wouldn't care.
I would want him out of the White House tomorrow if he threw you in jail for going against his policy.
All right, so hold on. Let me have a little fun. So, Clayton, can you tell me these prisoners that you call criminals that were deported down to El Salvador, can you tell me what crime have they committed?
No, I don't. I mean, one, I don't have a name. I have no intel of that. I can only go by what they have provided the public, is that
which is what, sir?
Committed crimes and are not citizens of the United States have been deported.
Hold on, let's have this conversation. Which is what? You just said they're criminals. I asked you, can you tell me what crimes? You said, I don't know. I can go off of what they're telling me. So I'm asking you, what crime have they committed? Just give me a crime.
I don't know. I mean,
okay.
Theft,
so
this robbery,
is so. Do you understand
anything?
So
whatever crime they've committed. Okay, if they're not a citizen and they're here committing crimes, I have no problem with them being deported. If someone comes in here and is trying to work hard for their family and is out on a tar roof 8 hours a day and gets deported, I'm up in arms for that. That's just wrong.
Okay, well, then you've got to be up in arms because that's literally what fucking happened. The guy was on the job site. He was here legally. He had protection legally. He committed 0 crimes. And they went to his job site and they picked him up and they took him to fucking El Salvador and they put him in prison. And the Supreme Court said bring him back, and they said no. No crime. He was legally here, and he was working. So I'm glad that we're on this. You're on our team now. It's time for you to reach down, grab what's between your legs, and say, Donald Trump, you are a threat to the Constitution.
The first thing I said when
that's
I got up
exactly what
here was
happened,
that I
bud.
disagree with his stance on that. I said he was the unluckiest person in America. Like
I was
targeted. It wasn't luck. He was targeted. They
He was
knew he had
rounded up
committed a crime.
incorrectly. He was caught in the fishing net.
No, he wasn't. No, they went for him and him only. They went to go get him. They had his name on a piece of paper, and they knew goddamn well that he had never been convicted of a crime. They knew that. They went and they got him on purpose. Where they were unlucky is that they live in a country where we have a rogue president who doesn't give a fuck about the Constitution, and he's got like this band of fucking morons who just think everything he does is perfect. The very thing you just said is perfect. The very thing you just hold on. The very thing you just said you would be up in arms about, and that would cause you to not support him. He did that. So now what do we do? Is your support over now?
No, my support is not over.
No, of course not. Oh, because he was brown. I get it. Yeah.
No, not when you keep saying brown.
It's because he's brown. This is why you keep bringing up
race baiting. No,
you're a white nationalist.
I mean, if you want to go racism, I think racism that's silly. It's really rich versus poor, and they try and pit racism against us to
Okay, then why are we only Then why are we only deporting brown people? There's a lot of people that are here on with the same status as that guy. Who are here and they're not brown. Weirdly, they're not being round up and thrown in a prison.
There are a lot of Eastern Europeans getting round up and.
Or any of them being thrown into a prison.
Can you show me a source, sir? Can you show me a source? Because I will.
I mean, if you want me to get on my computer, I can't do that.
I would be so happy if you can show me, because I've been looking for this. I would be so happy if you can provide me, but. You had a good conversation, but you won't, when you said you called them a criminals, fine, you call them a criminal, but why can't you answer what crime they committed? And this isn't a gotcha thing. I'm just trying to understand where you're coming from, because if you're going to call somebody a criminal, then say, hey, here are the charges.
Gang affiliated or criminals. And if you're gang affiliated with your now terrorist organization, they can, like people before me said, can do whatever the hell they want.
But and even if they can't prove
that's in the best interest of the country. If you're not a citizen and you're gang affiliated, if you can't prove it, I don't want you here. I'm sorry. That's what I want.
No, but wait, you don't think that? So you think that they should have to prove that they're not in a gang, not that the government should have to prove that they're in a gang? You don't think the government should have to prove that?
And they should come back here for due process. Blah 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 blah. But no, if they're not a citizen, no, I don't think so.
So no due process.
Wait. But
hold on, Jesse. No, Jesse. Hold on. Let me. Mr. Clayton, I appreciate you coming up here, man. I got to move on. I'm getting tired.
Yeah, I had a lot of time up here. I appreciate it. Thanks.
No, you're good. I mean, it is what it is. You can have your stance. If you're up for it, Spartacus and I tomorrow are gonna have a live, and I'm trying to figure out what the name of this movement is gonna be. So you can join, and hopefully we can get you on board, man. So
all right, thanks, Gus.
Stay safe, man. No, I just wish we can have this conversation, but for some reason we can't have a goddamn conversation, and it is what it is.
I thought he was a stand-up guy. Seems like everybody hates him.
Well, listen, you always wanted to debate RTP, so here's your chance. You got about 13 minutes, actually 12 now, and so yeah. So do what you do.
RTP want the smoke?
Yeah, I want give me all the smoke.
Dude, what is that? Hold on. There's a God damn it. We used to drink because every time Linz would mention it, we would drink. Project, oh man. Do you remember what she used to debate about?
I'm not doing this. You're on your own, bud.
Cash Patel, her and Maud used to debate it. Oh my God. We used to, every time she would be like, it's not Operation Paperclip, it's
Operation Hurricane?
No.
Sunfire Hurricane?
Crossfire
Hurricane. That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to talk about that shit. I'm like, dude, you're so dumb. Like, come on now.
No. But I
So how do
think
you guys?
I mean,
How do
tomorrow
you?
you should be interested in Jesse. You should join. I know you're wanting to kind of leave the MAGA party. So
Dude, I haven't been MAGA since like 2017, 18, or whatever, or 2020. After
yeah,
January 6th, it was like January 6th where I was like, nah, fuck this. Holy shit.
yeah. I mean, it's it's a wild one. And so I took your advice, and I'm gonna just I dropped everything, and we'll see what happens.
That's the best for you, Mod. Do you see
Oh,
how, or do you
did you
see?
just hear what he called me, bro? Yo, Jay, did you just hear what he called me?
I think you guys have the same credentials as a lawyer. You and Mod.
Hey, I did a
Fuck,
semester at
bro.
law school. What are you talking about?
Listen, that was a sneaky one, Jay. That was a
Oh,
sneaky one.
she's gonna be mad at you for saying that.
Oh no, is she going to tell all 40 people who are watching her live? That would be terrible.
Listen, bro. Oh man, that's and here I was like really, I was like maybe there's got to be a part two, Jay and
She,
Mod, but then I was
no,
like,
I do
nah,
have a
Jesse wouldn't
mugshot.
be there.
I got a mug shot somewhere actually.
No,
RTP's
fuck.
falsetto voice, dude. You got a fucking profile dedicated to your falsetto voice.
they're not dedicated to me. They're all mocking me. Every time I say something stupid, a new account shows up making fun of me. It's one of my favorite parts of doing this.
Damn.
I'm just you're awful. You
I'm just
are
saying.
awful.
Look. I don't know why anybody still pretends she's a lawyer. Like it wasn't even me. I left it alone. Like it was all her friends that proved it. Don't be mad at me because SK.
I mean, did you watch the YouTube yesterday?
Wait. SK got involved?
I think so. If I remember right, I think it was SK that.
But no, Jay, did you see the video? I sent it to Jen when people, Lynn's called her out.
A lot of people sent that to me. I saw part of it.
Yeah, that's oof. Oof.
Honestly, I thought it was unfair. I don't like when people are putting personal business up there, but if you are going to say you're a lawyer and you're not, I think that's fair game. But I didn't like honestly, I don't think it was fair to bring like her personal life into that shit. I thought that was kind of dirty.
Oh yeah, I don't like that on either side.
Yeah.
I don't. It's weird. You know what's fucking bullshit? That whole shit that went down with Lumberjack. These are the same people that were talking shit about Harry Sisson and his issues, but like Lumberjack is married and did the same fucking thing, and they're like, "Oh, he's a Christian man, though. He repented." Like, but he's still
Either way, I don't know why people are talking about that.
Weird.
People's marriages are their marriages. It's
it's awful. What I was gonna say is, but yeah, this was actually a fun night. I actually enjoyed it. I mean, we had a couple interesting people.
Who's the best one?
I mean,
my favorite was Spartacus. He came in hot, and then we left hugging. That was my favorite one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Spartacus is a good dude. I actually like him, so I'm hoping that he'll come through tomorrow because I'll be the first one to join his team. I'll be the first one.
Spartacus did he turn his camera on?
Yes.
Is he the one with glasses? He's a prior military? Yeah, he's cool. He's pretty chill. Like he'll have a conversation, but he don't get hyped out or anything, but he can come hot though sometimes.
Well, he came in hot and then, was like, Jay, here's a hug.
I'm a soothsayer.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, Jesse, when are you debating?
When am I debating?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I debating?
Don't worry, I'll set it up. No, just
Listen, as long as it ain't turnip, dude, I don't give a fuck.
Listen, bro, don't bring her name up, please.
Turn up.
Wait, hey, RTP, you should debate her.
No, that's.
I have. It's just, yeah. There's a couple people that just debate in that same way. It's all semantics. They literally just listen to you to hear something that they kind of disagree with. You can never stay on topic. They're just not very fun.
No,
she's one of them. Yeah, so they don't really have anything to defend. They just want to try and figure out a way to like get you to stumble over your words or flip flop. It's just not a very. I don't know. It's boring.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay out of this one. Shit.
They're not going to come here. Admir knows. Everybody that calls me out, they want me to come sit on a panel with them and debate. And I tell them every time to go to Admir, and none of them will. They're like,
no. Well, that's because and they've come to me too, and I'm like, listen, yes, I consider Jay a friend, but at the end of the day, when we're on the live, and if you come to debate him, it doesn't matter if he interrupts, I'll shut him down too. If the other person, and I think that's where they are. That's where they're scared of that for some reason that I'm gonna, have your back. And I'm like, listen, dude, when we're on the live, have at it. Don't. I'm not gonna.
So when are you gonna switch your card and put that you're a Democrat?
Listen, bro. Listen, bro.
Stop this nonsense.
Listen, bro. You need to say good night to everybody, and you need to go and sleep. Okay, just
pray. You need to pray.
Pray that Admir gets better at understanding information.
Yeah, I mean, just relax a little bit. No, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think these conversations need to happen, man. I'm actually enjoying this thing that we have. I really am. People are willing to have conversations. And
what's your opinion about? And don't look at this as only because of Trump, but what's your opinion on maybe opening up the presidency to 3 terms, possibly 4?
No, absolutely not.
Why are you against that?
Because I think that once you have that 3rd term, it opens so many doors that, in fact, I don't think that we should even have 2 terms. And not only that, I mean, well, that's just my opinion.
Obama wouldn't accomplish what he would have accomplished in less than 8 years. He needed his 8 years, and if we'd have had three terms of Obama, we would probably be set up for next couple decades if he was able to do his 3rd term.
I actually never had an issue with Obama.
I might be okay with a 3rd term. If you could actually, because sometimes that 3rd term might be beneficial.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know about that, Jesse. We're gonna have to have a talk on Discord.
No, you're saying I don't like it, but you're not telling me why it would be such a bad idea. If you have a president like Obama who served 2 terms, who was really fucking good, and all you had to do is maintain the economy that he had, and then you get somebody like Trump in, and we could have had a 3rd term Obama term, and that would have been like I said, the economy would be set. We would be fucking making a lot of money in our 401ks. We'd probably.
I think you're overestimating what Obama did and what the president can do.
I don't know, because the economy was on track. Look at the inflation rate was adjusted.
Yeah, but Republicans controlled Congress.
1.7.
Republicans controlled Congress for a lot of that too. That what we were seeing there is the end of capitalism. I mean, it's not like we fixed our tax structure. It's not like we ended our foreign interests all over the globe. Obama was good. But the reality is, most of his presidency, he was relying on Republicans to get things passed.
Yeah, and, definitely.
I think that we talk about the president in ways that we shouldn't. The president's job is supposed to be a mouthpiece, supposed to represent us well, supposed to be in charge of the military. I think it's just because Americans are lazy. We have the president's campaign on like policy, which is weird. Like they don't do policy. They're not supposed to be the ones that are driving the agenda. And we do that now, and we forget to vote. I mean, this last election, Trump won all the swing states, and Democrats won down ballot because literally people just showed up to vote for Trump. They didn't care about anything else. We have a problem where people don't understand what the president does. So now when we have a president who's taking all these extraordinary steps and going outside the bounds of the Constitution, people are like, oh, good, because this is literally all I voted for. I just voted for Trump and Trump to do everything that he wants to do. I think we need to, I think if anything, we need to talk about taking away some of the power that the executive branch has. I think the executive branch has way too much power. So it's not very representative.
What do you mean? Give me a...
Do you want to debate a conservative?
I always debate conservatives.
There's one in there if you want to. I don't know if you want to debate.
Jen says that's it. It's time to wrap it up. When Jen says it's done, it's
Jen
done.
said no? Okay.
Jen, and it's done and over with. And plus, he's got to get ready for it. Are you doing your show tomorrow, Jay?
Every weekday we do this. Yeah, I do need to get going and get working on it.
No, you're good. Hey, I appreciate you coming up again, Jesse.
Yeah.
You stay safe, and then next week, same time, and then we'll just kind of go from there.
Yeah. See y'all. Thanks everybody for the support. Appreciate it. Admir, good job, man.
All right. Stay safe.